The advantages for the UK.
I think there is all to play for from here. There will be some compensatory feelings on the side of those who have supported Mr Juncker, even though it's clear he wasn't the preference for many of the leaders, but they've worked with the system that there is, and that might therefore play to David Cameron's advantage. A
Buckinghamshire pensioner who suffers from dementia has been found after driving to London from his home in Flackwell Heath. Police used ANPR cameras to track 80-year-old Bruce Adams' journey into the capital yesterday morning. He was found by Met Police officers yesterday afternoon. Anti-crime messages posted during the World Cup by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about fraud when Nigeria were playing and drug dealing when Colombia were in action. More from Ben Nye.
The message posted by Herts Police during a Nigeria match referred to British nationals being increasingly targeted by scam artists operating in West Africa. A second message referred to illegal armed groups in Colombia being heavily involved in the drugs trade. Twitter users criticised the timing of the tweets and some of the content. Herts Police have told us it was never their intention to cause offence, but following complaints, they thought it was best to remove the tweets.
From today, more than 20 million workers in the UK will have the right to ask if they can work flexibly. Until now, only parents and carers were eligible. The request can be made once a year. Dolly Parton has performed to a huge crowd at the Glastonbury Festival. Dressed in a rhinestone-encrusted white jumpsuit, the country music legend performed many of her classic hits and said she didn't mind the weather.
Well, I was a farmer's daughter. And I grew up in the country, so this mud ain't nothing new to me.
In sport, Holland and Costa Rica are through to the World Cup quarter-finals. The Dutch scored 2 late goals to beat Mexico 2-1, whilst Costa Rica beat Greece on penalties after a 1-1 draw. The weather mainly dry and sunny with the risk of the odd shower this afternoon, a maximum temperature 21 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
So friendly, and it's such a lovely, clean, safe place to live.
It still retains a village aspect, which a lot of towns don't manage to.
It's all about where you live.
It's still got those old traditional, quaint sort of activities going on.
And all this week, we're featuring Tring.
It's just a lovely atmosphere, lovely feel.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Ain't this tour over yet? Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. If I'll be honest, we've all got that Monday feeling. I was planning on having an early night last night. I was in bed, get this, I was in bed at 6:30 last night. Didn't get to sleep till 10:30. Then I was woken up at 11:30 by a child who wanted a wee-wee. And it's Monday, and, you know, we're back here, and... Coming up, Thames Valley Police settles traveller row. Hertfordshire Police in a bit of a Twitter row. And Watford's Elton John. Oh, local and vocal. Watford's Elton John says Jesus will be OK with gay marriage. And why I'm fascinated by fascinators. Give us a call, 08459 455 555. If I'm honest, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really feeling it today. If any words of encouragement or wisdom you can give this morning would be gratefully appreciated. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Can I mention this? I did a show in I did a show in Birmingham at the weekend, right? OK, fine, that's great. They're all perverts up there. They're all perverts. The number of people... We spoke to a woman who drank her own wee-wee. The number of people who phoned up and said, I drink my own wee-wee. It's good when you've got a cold. What? Or they said they soak their feet in wee-wee because it keeps them warm. Or... We had, get this, Louisa, we had 2 people phone up and say, oh, yeah, well, they wipe their faces with wee-wee as it's good for their skin. One, their nan used to wee on a rag and then wipe their face. This is true. And one, they'd get a dirty nappy, wee-wee only, and wipe their faces with it. It's good for their complexion. Are there there any of you that would have done that? 08459 455 555. Bobby Womack died at the weekend. It doesn't really mean much to me, if I'm completely honest. But all of the songs that have been played in tribute, no one's played this one. I love this. This is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Now, an out-of-court settlement has been reached in the case of a Thames Valley policeman who is angry at the use of the word traveller. Traffic officer Jim Davis says the use of the catch-all term is discriminatory towards Romany gypsies like him. Thames Valley Police will now review its use of the word as part of the legal agreement. Well, Catherine's been looking into this. Joins me now. Catherine, what will this review look into?
Well, this is going to be an independent review into existing policies and procedures with a view to making sure that Thames Valley Police are fair to all communities living in their area and stamp out any inadvertent racial stereotyping or outdated practices that might still exist. Now, Jim Davis, the officer who brought the case against Thames Valley Police, will be involved in this, as will the newly formed Gypsy Roma Traveller Police Association.
So what were the issues involved in this case that brought about the review?
Right. Jim Davis is a traffic enforcement officer. He's of Romany descent, and he told an employment tribunal that colleagues allegedly offended him by referring to Romany people as travellers. They see themselves as a group apart from the travellers.
Okay.
He'd claimed that the term had become institutionalised at Thames Valley Police over the 20 years he'd worked there. Now, he also claimed that colleagues used another word, pikey, as a derogatory term for Romani people.
Yeah.
Thames Valley Police argued that the use of the word traveller referred to the whole community and not just those of Romani origin.
And how has Mr Davis reacted to the outcome?
Well, you're going to be talking to his barrister later on, Jack Feeney.
Yep.
He has told us that he's pleased with the outcome. The case against Thames Valley Police says was not driven by a financial motive, and indeed no compensation has or been paid out to Mr Davis. Now, he's apparently pleased that the force is reviewing the way it treats the Romani Gypsy community, and he hopes the move by Thames Valley Police will encourage other forces across the country to carry out their own reviews. Now, he also welcomes the decision by Thames Valley Police to create what's thought to be Britain's first Romani Gypsy Police Association.
Thames Valley Police, are they as pleased as Mr Davis is with the outcome of this case?
Well, they're glad that the case has not ended up in the courts and that a settlement could be reached between the two parties. They wouldn't speak to us, or they won't be speaking to any of the media. It's been picked up by some of the national newspapers about this one, because that was part of the settlement that was agreed between the two parties. But they say that they're pleased that Mr Davis brought this case to their attention.
I bet they are.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It might seem like a tangent, but there is a connection. The name Davis is the connection here. Tickets go on sale today for the Kinks musical. The Kinks musical.
Right.
I'm going to take my mum, I think. It's got really good reviews.
Has it? Good, because I don't like these musicals that are just an excuse for fleecing old songs.
No. I think this is kind of in the style of the one about the Four Seasons. What was that one? The Sunshine Boys.
The Jersey Boys.
The Jersey Boys.
Not in the style of Mamma Mia.
No.
Which would be awful.
No, that would be terrible. So the tickets go on sale today. So I'm gonna. I think it starts in October. Mum's birthday's in October.
Handy.
In your face. Present sorted. Birthday present sorted in June. You talk about Mamma Mia. There's a new film, isn't there? Is it called The Sunshine Boys?
It's called The Jersey Boys.
No.
It's about the Jersey Boys.
No, not the Jersey Boys.
Sunshine.
Is it The Sunshine Boys?
No, I don't know.
Walking on Sunshine.
Right.
Starring the girl who was going to be the British Beyonce, but then never really took off.
Shola Amma.
No.
Michelle Gale.
Don't, because I for some reason, I've done phone ins about car boot sales before, and the number of times people have phoned up and said they were at a car boot sale and Shola Amma was selling stuff. Like, honestly, I've had so many.
Hey, celebrities have got overspilled too.
I know, but I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what Shola Amma looked like.
She was sweet.
No, Lewis.
Leona
Lewis.
She's done all right, you know.
She hasn't.
She's done all right in America.
No, she hasn't.
Yeah, she has.
What?
She's got a new image in that, and she lives in America.
Well, then good.
That's
for her.
doing all right, isn't it?
That's living all right. Later on, after did you see any of the Glastonbury coverage?
No.
It looked. I mean,
I don't like watching parties I'm not invited to.
I don't like being invited to parties.
Yeah, well.
So that's that. We'll be asking best gig you've ever been to. Mine is.
I've been to some shocking dad gigs.
What?
Well, I mean, my dad used to, and mum and dad used to take me to their music, you know. So I've been to Genesis.
Wow.
I've been to Paul Simon.
A Wimberway.
My first gig of my own choice, so my own going, that wasn't Paul Simon.
I know, it made me laugh though.
Was Crowded House, and my dad sitting outside in a minibus reading a book.
Oh, that's good. That's a good dad thing to do.
It's a brilliant dad thing to do. Yeah, I haven't been to any rocking sort of gigs, apart from Live 8, and that was just a kind of greatest hits of everyone gig, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that wasn't my choice.
I was great Live 8. I was right at the front.
Yeah, I was right at the back and really needed to go to the toilet.
Yeah, I was in the goals. We had access to I was using Johnny Vaughan's toilet.
Good stuff, making poverty history, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got my ticket for free.
Yeah, you were the rich kids.
Yes,
I won the SMS lottery.
What does that mean?
Yeah, you had to send a text, didn't you, for tickets?
Oh.
And that's how I got my ticket.
Really?
Yeah, say ticket. I might as well just have stood outside the park.
Yeah, it was a bit rubbish, wasn't it?
I thought it was all right, but I did notice that when Snoop Dogg came on, all the women decided that was the time to go to the loo.
Did Snoop Dogg play?
Yeah.
Didn't really see much of it. I was probably backstage in Johnny Vaughan's toilet.
Yeah.
08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. In Milton Keynes, there are roadworks on the Standing Way at the Kingston roundabout, so expect delays there, especially at peak times. Also in Kingswood, the A41, we've got temporary traffic lights around the Grendon Road to build a new roundabout. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hey up, Glossop! 6:15. It's Monday, the 30th of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats Gypsy Roma traveller communities. after one of their own officers of Romani descent sued them for racial discrimination. David Cameron has insisted he can do business with the next president of the European Commission, despite campaigning against his appointment. And anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about drug dealing when Colombia are in action. Yeah, let's do this.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A Copa do Mundo no Brasil.
Here we go to the knockout stages of the World Cup.
The World Cup. Today at 5, France against Nigeria. Then at 9, Algeria versus Germany.
Brasil 2014.
It is incredible. World Cup drama here in Brazil.
Brazil 2014 across the BBC.
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Doesn't have a point of view, knows not where he's going to. Isn't he a bit like you and me?
Tough, mate.
Nowhere man, please listen. You don't know what you're missing. Nowhere man, the world is at your command.
Hell mess. Have you ever seen a cat when it gets into its basket? It'll turn and turn and turn and stick its paws into the bottom. Right, and it sounds when it gets on your lap and it sticks its paws into your legs because it thinks it's going to sleep on a snake.
He's as blind as he can be, just sees what he wants to see. Nowhere man, can you see me at all?
It thinks it's going to sleep on a snake.
Nowhere man, don't worry, take your time, don't hurry, leave it all till somebody else lends you a hand.
Hell mess.
Doesn't have a point of view, knows not where he's going to. Isn't he a bit like you and me?
Tough, mate.
Nowhere man, please listen. You don't know what you're missing. Nowhere man, the world is at your
It thinks it's going to sleep on a snake.
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Making all his nowhere plans for nobody.
Tough, mate.
It's the Dave Luton remix of Nowhere Man there. Did anyone pick up the subtle message I was trying to convey? I don't know if you picked up the subtle message there, Justin.
I enjoyed it.
Nice subtle message. Hey, your show was at a different time on Saturday.
It was, yes.
How did it go?
It felt a bit strange, but I enjoyed it. Yes,
Yeah.
It was, it's like moving into a new property.
Yeah.
And that first day you think, oh, it's a bit strange, but then hopefully by the next week you are thoroughly enjoying yourself.
Did you have a wall of legends?
No. A wall of legends. Just a wall to look at to inspire me.
Listen, this World Cup, it's still dragging on. I think I was reading online, there's another 6 weeks of the World Cup to go.
I think July the 13th is the final.
Is anybody watching this?
What?
Did anyone watch, what was it last night? Greece versus Croatia or something?
It was Greece versus Costa Rica last night.
Begins with a C,
yes,
and just as insignificant.
I'll tell you what, though, Brazil-Chile at the weekend on Saturday, that was probably the best game I've seen in years. The whole game was end-to-end, penalty shootout. It was gripping. How can you not be into the World Cup? A celebration.
Mate, it's a celebration of dullness and horrible blokes. That's what it is.
You are talking absolute nonsense.
Joe! Excuse me.
Bless you.
That's better. That's what I was waiting for. No, absolute load of old tosh.
No.
Now, the reason we're talking about the World Cup is not because we're, obviously we're guys and we're having a little bit of World Cup banter. We're having ball banter.
Can I stop you there for a second?
Hello?
I was talking about you down the pub at the weekend.
Uh-oh.
Yes, and...
Do I owe someone money?
You don't know. The conversation came up again. How can any man not be into the World Cup? I was explaining the situation about you, and they were just looking at me with this very strange expression. How can a man not be into the World Cup?
To whom were you explaining this?
To a bunch of guys down the pub.
Okay, a bunch of sad sacks.
No. A bunch of guys with very interesting lives.
There will be... OK, 08459 455 555. Watch the switchboard come alight, Justin.
You're not going to get any calls.
You're
a one-off.
No. Well, in many ways, I'm unique, but...
Yes.
If you're a bloke who's not into the World Cup, I hate this stereo. Oh, you're a bloke. You've got to be in a football, otherwise you're a little bit,
But even my mum
Gay.
who hates football, she's into the World Cup. She
No!
loves it. It's a celebration. It's once every 4 years.
It's a celebration of stupidity. That's what it's a celebration of stupidity, of ridiculousness, of idiots. There's nothing to... hey, maybe if England got to the final,
yes,
then, possibly there would be a little bit of excitement. No, not even excitement, of interest. But hang on a minute. You said that no men were into the World Cup, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Say hello to Dennis. Go on.
Hi, Dennis.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Absolutely depressed. You've just said another 6 weeks of this rubbish.
6 more weeks, and then Wimbledon's been extended by 3 weeks.
I know. What amazes me is that BBC have it on both the programmes at the same damn time.
Would you have it off, Dennis?
Would I have it off? What are you talking about now? You're not being rude now.
No. Would you like to have it off?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah?
They ought to have they ought to get a programme off for that only. I don't want to stop people watching and listening, but why to put it onto the popular?
I don't know. So we've got 5 weeks. Wimbledon's been extended because of bad weather. So we've got 5 weeks of Wimbledon, another 6 weeks of the World Cup. I don't know where EastEnders and Coronation Street are.
I'm not even bothered about them. But luckily, it's not. They're not spending my money. I couldn't care less.
So would you like to have it off for the next 6 weeks, Dennis?
I would like to have. Well, what's off the television altogether? No, I would like to see ordinary programmes, but why can't they have a programme specially for it on its own? A different line.
Yeah, put it on a different line, Dennis. Great point.
Yeah.
OK, so admittedly we haven't had any men phoning in, Justin, saying that they don't like the World Cup, but Dennis wants to have it off for the next 6 weeks.
Yes, good point. Well said.
So childish. We really haven't got that much in the show today. That's why we're dragging this out. Now, something we have got is this story. Excuse me. Hertfordshire Police, Justin, have come a cropper with what was supposed to be a little bit of World Cup Twitter campaign. It's like when your mum goes on the internet and tries to be cool and clever and ends up looking like a plum.
Yes.
First of all, the Hertfordshire Police sent out a picture of the Colombian flag with the message, Colombia face Uruguay in the FIFA World Cup. To report drug dealing, visit, and then they give out a web address. But then when they attempted to send an equally snappy tweet about the Nigeria game alongside an anti-fraud message, they got complaints. We'll be speaking to one of the complainants in a bit, but Justin, what exactly is going on?
It's incredible, this. Absolutely incredible. The message posted by Hertfordshire Police during Nigeria's match against Argentina referred to British nationals being increasingly targeted by scam artists operating in West Africa. The force says the scams can cause great financial risk to the victims and offers advice to protect themselves. A second message refers to illegal armed groups in Colombia being heavily involved in the drugs trade. It's linked to an appeal for Hertfordshire residents to help the police over drug misuse and drug dealing in their local communities. Now, these messages linked to football.
Oh, OK. Now, what's been the response from Nigerians and Colombians on Twitter?
Well, they are furious with the timing and the content of these tweets. They can't really understand why Hertfordshire Police chose to link their countries with fraud and drug dealing during World Cup matches. Bucky Olawolin, who's a Nigerian and ex-Tory councillor for Welling Hatfield, said on Twitter as well that, I assume there has been a mistake somewhere. Nope, no mistake. He said they won't intentionally aim to offend on a day of celebration. You will be talking to him live after 7 this morning. Another Nigerian said, "Is this supposed to be a joke?" No, it wasn't. It was real. Hearts Police, they eventually replied to the criticism. They said the messages were based on research they did into crime into different countries and areas where it was high. In response to upset Nigerians, Hearts Police said on Twitter, the tweets referred to scam artists operating in Western Africa and not Nigeria specifically, which is very nice of them. They also went on to say it was never their intention to cause any offence, but of course they had done.
What do you reckon, Justin? Offensive?
Yeah, it just seems very, very strange. When I heard about this yesterday, I didn't see the tweets myself on Saturday, but when I heard about it, I just think that the timing is very odd. We're talking about football here. It is a celebration, and to link a country to crime during a football match just seems very, very odd.
The tweets have been taken down, haven't they?
Yeah, our reporter Matt Lockwood, he spoke to Hearts Police yesterday to bring this to their attention. The officer on duty contacted one of their off-duty press officers. She then called back to say the tweets would be looked into. We then got another call from the press office later in the afternoon to confirm that the tweets had been removed. Now, we wanted to speak to Hearts Police this morning, but surprise, surprise, Ian, they have refused to appear on your programme.
Man alive. Justin, very quickly, I know we're going to send you out on two things. One is the best gigs after Glastonbury, but also I saw Elton John at the weekend talking about this. It's in some of the papers. He reckons Jesus would be okay with gay marriage. Yeah. I always get surprised or confused when people say, "Oh no, Jesus would like it."
Yeah.
Well, hang on a minute. How do you know? A, he may or may not have existed, and B, if he did, he died about 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Could you pop out and ask people if Jesus would have been okay with gay marriage?
Absolutely, no problem.
Justin, thank you very much.
Looking from a window above, it's like a story of love. Can you hear me? Came back only yesterday. I'm moving farther away. Want you near me? All I needed was the love you gave. All I needed for another day. And all I ever knew. Sometimes when I think of her name, when it's only a game, and I need you, listen to the words that you say, it's getting harder to stay. When I see you, all I needed was the love you gave. All I needed for another day, and all I ever knew, only you. All I needed was the love you gave. All I needed for another day, and all I ever knew, only you. This is gonna take a long time, and I wonder what's mine. Can't take no more. Wonder if you'll understand. It's just the touch of your hand behind a closed door. All I needed was the love you gave. All I needed for another day, and all I ever knew, only you.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the speed sensors, major routes starting to build up now. On the M1 London bound, things looking busy between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 13 for Bedford. Also starting to look slow between junction 10 for Luton and 9 for Redbourne. The M25 anti-clockwise also busy between junction 21 for the M1 and 18 for Chorleywood. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30, I'm Simon Oxley. Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats Gypsy Roma traveller communities after one of their own officers of Romani descent sued them for racial discrimination. David Cameron has insisted he can do business with the next president of the European Commission, despite campaigning against his appointment. And anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about drug dealing when Colombia were in action.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Holland and Costa Rica are through to the World Cup quarter-finals. The Dutch scored 2 late goals to beat Mexico 2-1, whilst Costa Rica beat Greece on penalties after a 1-1 draw. The two will meet in the last 8. Today's last 16 matches are France against Nigeria at 5 and Germany versus Algeria at 9. Luton Managing Director Gary Sweet says the money from the sale of Andre Gray will be reinvested into players and training facilities over the next 2 years. Gray has joined Championship side Brentford for an undisclosed fee. They had to say there will be a healthy sell-on should he leave the West London side. Andy Murray faces South Africa's Kevin Anderson in the last 16 at Wimbledon today. Murray's match against the 20th seed is second on centre court. His mum Judy says the champion is looking good.
He's been very relaxed but very focused on the court, so it's a good combination, and the main thing in the slams is not to waste any extra energy in the first week, because obviously to win the tournament you need to win 7 matches in 13 days, so you need all your energy for the latter part of the tournament. So far so good.
Also today, top seed Novak Djokovic plays Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, but Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer don't play until tomorrow. Hertfordshire's Jodie Williams missed out on the sprint double at the British Championships in Birmingham. She was third in yesterday's 100 metres after winning the 200 metres on Saturday. And Hertfordshire's Olympic track cycling champion Laura Trott won the British Road Race Championships.
Oh, just absolutely incredible. Like, I woke up this morning and I was thinking I really, really wanted to win, but to try and beat somebody like Lizzie Armstead is such an ask, and she's been going so well all year, and I just thought, I just really don't know how we're going to do this as a team, but obviously we had a good, strong team and everybody played their own part in it, and it all came together.
And in cricket's Minor Counties Championship, Hertfordshire resumed this morning on 57 for 3 away to Staffordshire. That's in reply to the home side's 315 all out. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, that's what I say. I say yeah. I'll be honest, slow news day today.
Yeah.
The paper's really very, very little. Dolly Parton is splashed across the front.
And I like Dolly Parton, but I think she'd get on my nerves if she was my friend.
We're talking about best concerts you've ever been to. I went to a Dolly Parton concert. Weren't that good, actually.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Weren't that good. I spent a fortune on the tickets. She mimed for some of it.
Oh.
She mimed. I think she mimed Little Sparrow. Yeah.
That's a really slow one. She could manage that one, surely.
Yeah, but it was very disappointing. I'm very excited because on Thursday I've worked out the date and I've now got the tickets. They are hidden somewhere in my house. I'm not saying where. Monty Python.
Thanks. Good story.
Monty Python! You're not going! You're not going, I am going. You're not going, I am going.
But what I'll probably do is buy the DVD.
Yep.
And see them.
Yeah, I've got terrible seats, if I'm completely honest. I'm still tempted to go to one of the cinema screenings.
Instead?
As well.
Oh, right.
If there are any... I'll have a little look. I'm going to play a long record next, so I'll have a little look online. See if there are any cinema screenings.
It can only be a disappointment, can't it?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to rain on your expensive parade.
It's going to be rubbish.
It's going to be a massive letdown.
Listen, I am totally set up for very low standards. My sights are set down
Saying
there.
that, I've got a weird crush on Michael Palin, so I'd still go. If someone had a spare ticket, someone was asking, I'll probably still go.
No, I mean the third ticket I've got, I'll find someone to give it to. I may not even bother using it. Wowzers. But you don't want to go. It's going to be disappointing. Rubbish seats. You won't see them. It'll be rubbish.
But,
Something
you know,
funny.
I'll keep you company while you get disappointed.
Nah, it's all right. I'm going to go with my sister and we'll have an empty seat we can stretch our legs out on. Put our chips on.
Oh.
Very, very excited. But
You're going to get a foot long.
I love a foot long.
I think they do them there, but they're really expensive, so make sure you take more than a tenner.
Elton John, Jesus would back gay
I watched
marriage.
Take That with one of those when I was very pregnant, and it took me a long while to get through it. It's not the sort of thing you can eat during a concert, I don't think. Like a music concert, a foot long.
Elton John, Jesus would back gay marriage.
I didn't realise Elton John was a clerical man.
I'm fascinated by Elton John. I've never been a massive fan of his, although I saw him do a little kind of secret concert in a church once, and it was entertaining.
He's a talent. He's a talent, there's no denying.
He knows how to put on a show.
Mm-hmm. I like it now that I liked his early stuff before he started to get really
I like I'm Still Standing. Yeah. Have we got that one? Because I fancy
Yeah, I think we have.
I'm still standing.
Denied a passenger
Who wanna get on?
That one, when he was a bit more fun.
Yeah.
I like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road as well.
It's no sacrifice.
See, that's when he lost me.
Sacrifice.
Oh,
I think we got some cracking Elton Johns. We got.
Yeah, but he's quite in this one.
Yeah, this is.
No.
Don't like this one.
No.
Okay, we got.
No, I really don't like this one.
Okay.
What's that?
Bit Poncy.
Yep. My mum used to sing that to me.
Oh, this is with Blue.
Yeah. Best gloss over that.
Yeah, I know it. Oh, hang on. Seems to be. Shut up. Let's have a bit of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk about Elton John and gay marriage in a minute. Let's have a listen to the Master singing the gospel.
You can never know what it's like. Your blood like winter freezes just like ice. And there's a cold and lonely light that shines from you. You wind up like the wreck you hide behind that mask you use. And did you think this fool could never win? Well, look at me, I'm coming back again. I got a taste of love in a simple way. And if you need to know while I'm still standing, you just fade away. Don't you know I'm still standing better than I ever did? Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. And I'm still standing after all this time, picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. I'm still standing. Once I never could have hoped to win. You're starting down the road, leaving me again. The threats you made were meant to cut me down. And if my love was just a circus, you'd be a clown by now. No, I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. I'm still standing after all this time, picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. I'm still standing. Still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. I'm still standing after all this time, picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. I'm still standing.
Only just. Anyway, he fascinates me to look at. Remember when he was bald?
I like his mind and mouth connection.
In what?
In that he says exactly what he feels like and doesn't care.
Yeah, he he looks like he's hard work. I've heard.
Yeah.
This secret gig
I'd
I
like
went
him to be my friend. I wouldn't like to get on the wrong side of him.
Well, this secret gig I went to, I spoke to people who were backstage with him, and he almost didn't go on. And then he was only going to play 5 songs, and then he loved it, and so he stayed out there all night, rocking away.
That sounds about right.
But Elton John says Jesus would back gay marriage. Jesus Christ would have been a supporter of gay marriage, Sir Elton John has claimed. I never get it when people of faith or otherwise say, but Jesus would have liked it. Well, you don't know. He's a dead... It's like when they talk about any dead person, that's what he would have wanted.
Do you think he would have been a bit old-fashioned, like our granddads?
Jesus?
Yeah, would he have been, what's going on now? What's that? What's a television? What are you talking about?
No.
What are you watching that for? What are you doing that for?
No, Jesus would know what a television is. He would know what everything is. He's Jesus. He would, wouldn't he?
We're assuming he's lived all the way through the ages and seen the natural progression of things rather than popping back.
Well, no, but Jesus sees everything now.
All right, yeah, okay.
So Jesus knows what he knows what an Apple Mac is.
Do you know what? I think it's because people who believe in...
He might struggle with an iPhone.
People who believe in Jesus think he lives in their heart, and so they think that he knows them well enough to understand what they're driving at and would agree with them on most things.
The musician, Elton John, not Jesus, who plans... I don't know, maybe he was... who plans to marry civil partner David Furnish next year, said Catholic rules...
About time, really. How long have they been together? How many kids?
Living in sin. More ways than one. It's a joke. For goodness sakes, guys. Come on. Who plans to marry David Furnish, said Catholic rules preventing gay clergy from marrying and requiring celibate priests were old and stupid things.
Oh, hang on, this is different.
Yeah, so he's... OK, so we've got 2 things here. He said, times have changed. If Jesus Christ was alive today, I cannot see him as the great person he was, saying this could not happen. He was all about love and compassion and trying to bring people together, and that's what the church should be about. So there's a couple of things here. Right, would Jesus have backed gay marriage? I don't know. Elton John seems to know. Let's hear your thoughts, please. And he also says that gay clergy should be allowed to marry and priests shouldn't be celibate.
So all clergy, in other words?
Well, they're not all gay.
No, all clergy should be allowed to marry, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and clergy can marry, can't they? But they can't have it.
Not Catholics.
They can't have it away. Catholics not marry?
No. When I was a little girl, there was a girl down the road from me, Patricia, and her
Hello,
dad...
Patricia, if you're listening.
She won't be. She's in Manchester, probably.
She can listen.
Although a lot of them ended up moving to London.
Yeah, you're from up there.
Yeah, but we moved because of my dad, though.
Well, she may have moved because of her dad, though.
Don't think so. Might have.
You don't know. You're making assumptions about Patricia.
Anyway, her dad was...
Morning, Patricia, if you're listening on the podcast.
Her dad was a former Catholic priest who decided to chuck it all in because he wanted to be a family man.
He divorced God and he married a bird.
Well, I think he still probably believed in God, but he just couldn't be a priest anymore.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number. What do you think about Elton John's latest rant?
It does strike me as a bit odd. I'm just going to say...
Uh-oh.
I grew up Protestant, so, this is laying the cards out on the table. It strikes me a bit odd that Catholic priests have a say in the way people, run their marriages when they've never been married themselves.
They're just passing on the word of God, though, aren't they? They've got the instruction book. The Bible. And they are passing on... those instructions...
With clear heads, because they've not got...
A teacher doesn't need to be a geographist to teach geography.
Should be, though. Be better if they were.
Would help, but they don't need to.
Be better, though, wouldn't
it? A physics teacher doesn't need to be a physicist.
We found out that my physics teacher didn't pass his GCSE.
Didn't believe in physics.
Didn't pass his physics O-level.
What?
That undermined him massively in our eyes.
Well,
that proves my argument.
Exactly.
Be better if they did.
So teachers don't know anything about what they're teaching.
They should.
No, but they just know that chapter because they've read it the night before.
Be better if they knew the whole thing, wouldn't it?
So teachers, do they know anything about what they're teaching? 08459 455 555.
My sister taught Italian and she only spoke very, very basic Italian.
Yeah.
So, that's the way it is, but the way it should be in an ideal world is that you're expert, surely.
Well, someone who is an expert. Glossop!
Hello.
You're an expert on the travel, innit?
Oh, yeah.
Go on, tell me, OK, let's put it to the test.
No. Yeah, go on.
Name your top 3 motorways.
Oh.
In reverse order, please.
Well, I think about this a lot, obviously.
Of course you do.
So it's actually a simple question for me.
Yeah, so number 3, your third favourite motorway.
Well, it's got to be the M4. No, that's my favourite one, probably.
Oh, you did ruin the countdown, you muppet!
Okay, no, M4 is my third favourite.
Right.
Because, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
A lot of good memories. Yeah, second favourite.
M1.
Oh, that's your second.
What's it going to be? What's it going to be, class?
And then the best one is got to be the oh gosh, 25.
You can't say that. That's rubbish.
She hasn't got a clue what she's talking. You're right. They need to know what they're talking about before they come and bang on about stuff.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 London bound, building up at the moment between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 13 for Bedford. Also slow going between junction 10 for Luton and 9 for Redbourne. The M25 anti-clockwise, heavy going between junction 21 for the M1 and 18 for Chorleywood. On the speed sensors, the A1M southbound also looking slow around junction 7 for Stevenage. Public transport, no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Alice. If you want to give us a call with your favourite motorway, 08459 455 555. Can we send Justin out to do a Vox on what's your favourite motorway?
I'm sure we can.
I can just imagine him going up to people. Good morning, sir. I'm from Three Counties Radio. What's your favourite motorway? Sorry? Your favourite motorway? M1? Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Let's send the boy out and get him to do that, shall we? It's 6:46. It's Monday, the 30th of June. Hang on. January, February, March, April, May, June. Last day of June.
Yeah, July tomorrow.
Sorry?
July tomorrow all day.
Thanks very much. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats Gypsy Roma traveller communities after one of their own officers of Romani descent sued them for racial discrimination. David Cameron has insisted he can do business with the next president of the European Commission, despite campaigning against his opponent. And anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about drug dealing when... Sorry, what are you doing?
Scribbling.
It's quite... You're just drawing around a bottle of water in an advert.
Yeah.
It's quite...
Mind your own business. Read that.
Dearie me.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello there, quite a decent day today with lots of sunny spells around. So it will be cloudier at times, but largely dry. Just a small chance of a shower here and there, and that will be mainly this afternoon. They should be quite light where they do fall though, and fairly short-lived as well. We're looking at highs of about 18 or 19 degrees Celsius, and tonight, fairly cool night under largely clear skies. There will be cloudier moments and just a low possibility of the odd light shower, but for many it will remain dry, with temperatures down to 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow, another bright start to the day. Some sunny spells around, a little bit cloudier come the afternoon. We are looking at highs of 19 or 20 degrees Celsius though, and things are hotting up as we head through the week. So by Wednesday, Thursday, we could be challenging the hottest day of the year so far. That's your latest forecast.
Every weekday morning from 9.
Good morning, welcome to the JVS show.
Your local stories.
Have you had to rebuild your life after being a victim of crime? Do you think it's inhumane to keep people in prison for life? Do you think that immigration needs to stop?
Your local life.
Why do 70% of this country feel immigration is wrong?
We've actually got an open doors policy.
I am just so angry listening to some of them people.
What the government are doing, they'll start introducing American-type sentencing, like 200 years in prison.
The JVS Show.
British people are not xenophobic.
Weekday mornings from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Woo!
are 12 years ago to the very day that we lost Whitney Houston. I know she's dead.
It's not 12 years.
Something like that.
This is a bit. I like this bit best. Shush.
She was so... Oh, my gosh.
I'm doing that bit with a perm.
Wow. That's,
She had very busy lips, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She did. She did.
Like
she
this.
was so fresh-faced and full of vitality then when she was young. I like that.
I like Curly Whitney.
Yeah, I like
Late Whitney too, but it got a bit sad,
I
didn't
preferred Curly Whitney. 08459 455 555. What was your favourite Whitney? Late Whitney or Curly Whitney? Your choice. What was your favourite Whitney, Just?
Oh, Curly.
Yeah,
had to be.
definitely.
Whitney, the Blue Album, 1987.
The Little
what
Vest.
an album.
The
yeah,
vest.
Vest.
Oh, the vest! The vest and the curls. Now I remember.
Beautiful.
Beautiful Whitney. And by the end, not quite so...
Sad Whitney.
Yeah, it was very sad Whitney. Beautiful Whitney, sad Whitney, Curly Whitney, late Whitney. You make your choice. You pays your money, you takes your choice.
Phone in now.
08459.
455 555.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, Justin.
Yes, boss.
You've done a little Voxer, so we've got something else we want to send you out on in a bit. But what have you been out on the streets? What you've been pounding the streets?
Yes.
What have you been getting?
I've taken it to the streets. The best gig ever because Dolly Parton, of course, she played Glastonbury over the weekend. People raving about this, saying it was the best gig ever on the front pages of some of the papers this morning. So I've been out and about early this morning asking people about their number one gig. Here's what people had to say. Just press play.
Huh?
Press play.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You too.
Whereabouts?
In France.
In France as well?
Yeah.
Why France?
Only place to get tickets.
How good was it out of 10?
Brilliant. 9.5. Maybe to 10. I would say to 10.
And who did you go with?
4 of us went.
That's a fantastic story. Thanks so much, sir.
It was Queen with Paul Rodgers for me. Brilliant gig. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, it was after Freddie had died. It was they'd done a research gig, and the best thing about it was I'm a massive Freddie fan, and he just came out and said, "Look, I'm not trying to beat Freddie. I'm not trying to beat him. I'm just trying to sing the music he wrote," and it was fantastic. The place was sold out. Brilliant.
The number one concert for you, sir, would be
U2, Dublin.
You're the second person to mention U2.
Yeah.
What is so good about U2 live?
Best band in the world. Live is unbelievable. CDs are good, but live you can't beat it.
Bernard, you are so lucky. You have seen Diana Ross live?
Yes.
Where was this?
Wembley Arena. But it was the day after she had an atrocious concert the day before, and we all went in thinking it was going to be the second half of the atrocious concert. It wasn't an atrocious concert. We were just very young, very cheap, and were sitting right at the very back. It could have been anybody on the stage, but we knew who it was.
Wow. I mean, that's something to tell people down the pub, that you've seen Diana Ross live. Not many people have seen her live.
True enough.
Wow. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
Catherine, you noticed something about those U2 fans?
Crazy?
Neither of them had any teeth in, did they?
Very true.
Can I tell you?
Great
Okay,
spot.
can I tell you the worst gig I've ever been to?
Go on.
It was U2. No,
I saw U2 at Live 8. I was near the back, and it was the only one I could hear properly. I thought they were brilliant.
No, I went to see Cat Stevens, Yusuf Islam, in like a little comeback concert at the Shepherd's Bush Empire, celebrating 50 years of Island Records, right? So he was the main. It was the first gig he's done in years, and then before that, some African fella came out and did some
you
really.
seen the door?
I don't know.
He was good at Live 8, wasn't he?
I don't know. Some African fella came out. He was rubbish, right? Absolute rubbish. And he was going on and on for ages. And then he said, right, I want to bring out some special guests. And we're going, oh, flipping it. Bring Cat Stevens on, you muppet. And he brought out Bonio and The Edge, isn't it?
Oh.
Wow.
And they came out, and so we got this African fellow who's rubbish.
Yeah.
We got half of U2 who are rubbish, singing Bob Marley songs. Who get it? Was rubbish.
What is that?
And the whole of Shepherd's Bush Empire went mental. And me and my wife were going, oh, for goodness sake, get less. Absolute rubbish. Listen, Justin, two things.
Yes.
Busy morning for you this morning.
Yeah, come on, boss.
Well, okay, three
Hit me
things.
with it, come on.
Well, three things. One of them is a Costa run. Thank you. It's appreciated.
Yes.
First thing is, Elton John reckons Jesus would be all right with gays getting married. Elton. Could you go and get the word on the streets if they agree?
Yes,
Can we use the term Watford's Elton John, please?
Watford's Elton John.
Local and vocal.
Yeah, no problem.
And secondly, could you ask people what their favourite motorway is?
Favourite motorway?
Yeah.
Right. OK.
What's your favourite motorway, Just?
The M1. Use it every day, yeah. You know, in actual fact, that's quite a good phone. Yeah,
it's not.
I like it. Yeah.
M1 is one of my least favourite motorways.
Why?
I just it's the speed variations, the closing lanes, opening lanes. There's nothing wrong with the good old M40.
I like the M6.
M6.
When we hit the M6 and I'm near my grands, there's going to be biscuits and cake aplenty.
The reason I'm not so keen on the M6 is that it thinks it's better than other motorways because it's got that toll road section.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to pay.
Make a decision.
Yeah, make a decision now. Does anyone actually pay to drive on the
I've done
M6?
it.
Oh no, never.
I've done it.
Never. I'd take the extra 20
minutes. My friend's getting on. She's not got time to waste.
Well, I suppose so. Just, could you go and do that for us?
Yeah, well, I'll do that one for 7:30. And what else? And what after 8?
Whatever you fancy,
Is that all right
Just.
for you?
Yeah.
OK, no worries.
Ta-ta, see you later.
Yeah, cheers, bye.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound, busy going before junction 14 for Milton Keynes. Also slow between junction 10 for Luton and 9 for Redbourne. The M25 anti-clockwise, slow going between junction 18 for Chorleywood and 16 for the M40. Public transport, that's all looking good with no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you very much. If you want to have your say, Elton John thinks that Jesus would be given the thumbs up to gay marriage. Give us a call, 08459 455 555, or you can go to the Facebook page. Quite a few people, disagreeing with Sir Elton. Oh dear.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: police review gypsy policy after officer sues them. Bedfordshire MP backing Cameron in Europe row. And Hearts police remove World Cup Twitter messages.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats gypsy Roma traveller communities. It comes after a policeman of Romani descent sued them for racial discrimination. Jim Davis's case has now been settled out of court. More from Matt Lockwood.
Mr Davies claimed his colleagues referred to Romani people as travellers. He said the term had been institutionalised at Thames Valley Police over the 20 years he has worked there. TVP argued the use of the word traveller referred to the whole community, not just those of Romani origin. The force has now agreed to review its existing policies and procedures to make sure it serves all communities fairly.
David Cameron has insisted he can do business with the next president of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, despite campaigning against his appointment. Conservative MP for North East Bedfordshire, Alistair Burt, a former Foreign Office minister, says there could be advantages for the UK.
I think there is all to play for from here. There will be some compensatory feelings on the side of those who have supported Mr Juncker, even though it's clear he wasn't the preference for many of the leaders, but they've worked with the system that there is, and that might therefore play to David Cameron's advantage.
A Buckinghamshire pensioner who suffers from dementia has been found after driving to London from his home in Flackwell Heath. Police used ANPR cameras to track 80-year-old Bruce Adams' journey into the capital yesterday morning. He was found by Met Police officers yesterday afternoon. Anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about fraud when Nigeria were playing and drug dealing when Colombia were in action. More from Ben Nye.
The message posted by Hearts Police during a Nigeria match referred to British nationals being increasingly targeted by scam artists operating in West Africa. A second message referred to illegal armed groups in Colombia being heavily involved in the drugs trade. Twitter users criticised the timing of the tweets and some of the content. Hearts Police have told us it was never their intention to cause offence, but following complaints, they thought it was best to remove the tweets.
From today, more than 20 million workers in the UK will have the right to ask if they can work flexibly. Until now, only parents and carers were eligible. The request can be made once a year. Dolly Parton has performed to a huge crowd at the Glastonbury Festival, dressed in a rhinestone-encrusted white jumpsuit. The country music legend performed many of her classic hits and said she didn't mind the weather.
Well, I was a farmer's daughter, and I grew up in the country, so this mud ain't nothing new to me.
In sport, Holland and Costa Rica are through to the World Cup quarter-finals. The Dutch scored 2 late goals to beat Mexico 2-1, whilst Costa Rica beat Greece on penalties after a 1-1 draw. The weather mainly dry and sunny with the risk of the odd shower this afternoon, a maximum temperature 21 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Quite quiet, but very pleasant. Attractive rural provincial town.
And all this week, we're featuring Tring.
Best thing about Tring is the people.
Best thing about Tring is the beautiful countryside round Tring.
It's all about where you live.
I love it.
I'd be hard pushed to find anything better.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. We've all got that Monday feeling. We're all kind of a little bit, it's Monday, we're back in the box. We're back in the box. It's all downhill from here, guys. Some of the things you might want to talk about. Thames Valley Police settles traveller row. Watford's Elton John says Jesus would be OK with gay marriage. And I'll be asking, new shoes or blue shoes? Which shoes would you choose? Call now, you snooze, you lose. 08459 455 555. Also, what's your favourite motorway? I don't think there's anything wrong with the good old-fashioned M40. It's got a boozer on it now. The M40's got a boozer on it. Beautiful, beautiful booze. And cars. Facebook.com/BBC3CR 81333. Start your text 3CR. Or you can give me a call 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, my respect, boss, yeah?
Thames Valley Police have reached an out-of-court settlement with a Romani policeman who accused the force of racial discrimination. Traffic officer Jim Davis objected to the way his colleagues referred to people from his ethnic background as travellers. Well, Thames Valley Police will now review its policies and procedures in a bid to stamp out any racial stereotyping or outdated practice that might still exist. Well, Jack Feeney was the barrister that represented Mr Davis and joins me now. Morning, Jack.
Morning.
Jack, what were the issues in this case?
Well, as you just said, essentially it was about the way that the police was using the term traveller in its policies. And I should just say that it was slightly misreported initially, and that it was said that the term traveller in itself was an offensive term, but actually that wasn't Mr Davis's point. The term in itself is entirely neutral. It was more to do with what he perceived as the police associating it directly with criminal activity.
So explain that, Jack, exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I should say at the start, actually, the case was settled, as you've probably seen, so the allegations weren't heard at a full tribunal, and of course they weren't technically proven, so I'm sure the police would say that they wouldn't have been proven when they got there.
If they had come on today, we would be able to ask them, but they've refused, so...
Yeah, just to being a typical lawyer, just to make my point clear, I'm not saying these allegations were true, but the case was, or would have been proven.
Thank you.
The case was that the context of the use of the word traveller, as I say, was relating to criminality, but also to the particular ethnic group that Mr Davis belonged to, being an English Romani traveller. And the force's legal argument is actually based out of an old case from the 80s, where there was a pub, it's called Dutton, the House of Lords decided, and there was a pub in Hackney which had put a sign up saying no travellers, which certain people obviously took offence to, and it went off to the House of Lords to determine whether that was effectively a racist sign. And the House of Lords determined that actually, because it was related to not just people of a gypsy origin, but also generally people of nomadic existence, it wasn't actually, it didn't have the same racial connotation.
So what was Mr Davis claiming that the police were saying all travellers are thieves?
Well, I'd say it's slightly more nuanced than that. What they were saying was travellers are a potential criminal gang.
Right.
And Mr Davis said, well, that's racist, because you're simply saying that people of an ethnic origin are a criminal gang. And the police's point of view was that, I say, relying back on this case from the 80s, they said, well, we're not talking simply about people of your ethnicity, we're talking about anyone who leads a nomadic existence, and therefore you cannot show This has racial connotations. This was really the argument in the case.
OK, there was also complaints around the word, I'm going to say it once, pikey, which that is a racist term, isn't it?
Well, absolutely it is. And again, the police would deny that words like that were used.
Yeah.
But yes, that's certainly true. And of course, that was a line of argument that Mr Davis wanted to use. And of course, if you're using that term, then clearly that is a race-related term. So if you're using that interchangeably with traveller, then it has the racist connotations that the police were denying.
There might be some people listening, Jack, who think, oh, for goodness sakes, this is such a minor thing. How did this even get close to ending up in court? What would you say to them?
Well, I think what has to be borne in mind is this Mr Davis was all about raising awareness of what he saw as a problem. It wasn't at any point about compensation. And I know that the outcome that we got from this, and I can mention that in a minute, but he's very happy with. But the point about, I think it's dangerous to say, and I say this as a discrimination lawyer, it's dangerous to say people are too easily offended. If Mr Davis is right about this, as I say, independent review's looking into it now, but if it's right that the police were categorising a racial group in a blanket terms as criminals, and I should just say it's not just Thames Valley, I'm sure most national police forces have similar policies, then that's just simply dangerous, I think. And Mr Davis's point, which I think is a valid one, is it goes against everything that happened in the wake of the Stephen Lawrence case in the 90s, that the police are still doing that.
So the case has been settled out of court. So can you tell us what the agreement was?
Well, I can't go into detail, obviously, but I can say that a couple of the outcomes, which I think are particularly important, is firstly the police have agreed to set up an independent review of their policies. And we don't know what the outcome of that will be, and it may well be that the police will be exonerated and find that Mr Davis was wrong in what he thought, but ultimately that's going to be determined independently. The other key outcome was that the police have facilitated, and again, there's credit to them, they facilitated the Gypsy Romney Traveller Police Association, which Mr Davis is chairing, and that's effectively a body to, well, I think with three purposes. Firstly, obviously, to protect current police officers who are of a traveller ethnicity. Secondly, I think to improve links between the police and the traveller community generally. And thirdly, hopefully, to encourage more people of traveller ethnicity to become police officers.
Mr Davis is still working for the police, is he?
Yes, yes.
OK. Jack, thanks very much for your time this morning. Jack Feeney, barrister that represented Mr Davis.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Your say on that, you're more than welcome to. We've had a text on your favourite motorway. Paul in Luton says my favourite motorway is the M48. The M48. There's the first vote for the M48 so far. 08459 455 555. What's your favourite motorway? Is the phone in this morning. I'm doing it in my radio voice. Also, Elton John has said Jesus would be all right with gay marriage. He'd have loved it. He'd have been well up for it. Thumbs up fun award from Jesus for gay marriage. It always, I always get confused because someone will phone in and say, well, no, Jesus wouldn't like gay marriage. How do we know? How do we know? Some of your comments on Facebook. He also said that Catholic priests should be allowed to get married and have sex. I agree with Elton John, says Ian. If priests can't have relationships, how can they give advice on relationships? Lisa says, don't use a book of fairy stories to live your life by. Jane says, JVS will pick this up at 9. Rob does the animal stories, JVS does the gay stories. Well, we're doing the gay story at the moment. PT says, I guess he's not got any dead blondes to sing about and needs attention from making comments like this instead. He should go back to supporting his football team, using that term really lightly here since I'm a Luton fan, and keep his unnecessary opinions to himself. Ava says, this is against the word of God. God is still here in spirit, just like the devil is here in spirit. These worldly and twisted sins are very much thought of as acceptable, but don't get it twisted, people, because God's word, it seems, is being compromised way too much these days. Oh, that says from Ian in Hemel. And Sarah says, sure, that goes against the Bible teaching. Well, what do you think? Elton John has come out and said that Jesus would back gay marriage. What do you think about what he's saying? And is there any truth in that? 08459 455 555 is the telephone number, should you wish to give us a call on that. He also suggests that Catholic priests shouldn't be celibate. They should be allowed to have it away any time they want. Oh, I mean, it fell down a hole then.
What did you do that for?
I just felt... I managed to climb back out rather quickly, but just for momentarily I fell down a gaping chasm. which is not particularly pleasant at this time of the morning.
No, so-
I never get it when people say, "Oh, Jesus would like that." Oh no, or any dead person. Oh yeah, no, he would have liked that. How do you know he'd like to have been alive still?
But people that use that are absolutely convinced that they've got the right idea.
The thing is, the Bible is open to so much interpretation.
There are big bits missing.
Apparently, there's a bit in the Bible. Oh, they got rid of the bits they didn't like, people. There's a bit in the Bible. I mentioned this. I was doing Another Life at the weekend. We're talking about wee-wee. And there's a bit in the Bible that says you should drink your urine.
What?
I know, I didn't get that lesson in Sunday school.
That's got to be Old Testament, surely.
Some people, get this, right? Some people soak their feet in urine. They wipe their faces with wee-wee. With wee-wee. There was one woman who phoned up the other day. Her nan used to, I guess, squat and wee on a rag and wipe their faces with it. And another woman, when her kid did a wee-wee in the nappy, before throwing it away, all over her face, splash it all over. It's good for the skin, apparently.
Called a soch.
And would drink it. Lots of people, I think, from Jamaica would drink it if they had a cold. It's good for you.
Well, no, your body doesn't need it. It's getting rid. Don't put it back in.
This is what I thought it was. I thought your wee-wee was all... I'm so sorry to be doing this at breakfast. I apologise. That it was all toxins and poisons and things that you didn't need. Mm. But people drink it.
Your kidney's saying, hang on a minute, we've been through this, haven't we? Why are you back?
Have you never been tempted?
No. Why would I be tempted?
You're not a boy. I think boys have been tempted. And there will be boys listening that have done it for a dare. A drunken dare on a Saturday night. I've been tempted. I've often thought, I wonder...
Why?
It looks like Barocca. Looks like a warm Barocca.
But Barocca's horrible. Some would say. I'm sure it makes you feel like you, only better.
Boy, oh boy, are we going off on lots of tangents this morning. If you'd like, well, you can have your say on that if you've ever had a little drinky poos of it.
Oh, stop it.
Some people will have done. This was in Birmingham. They're all perverts in Birmingham. They're all deviants up there. There can't be anybody in the three counties that's indulged in that practice, can there? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M25 looking a little heavier than normal at the moment. Slow going between junction 22 for London Coney and 19 for Watford. Also got delays between junction 18 for Chorleywood and 15 for the M4. The M1 London bound, very slow at the moment between junction 12 for Flitwick and 11 for Dunstable, with the normal delays between junction 10 for Luton and 9 for Redbourne. On the speed sensors in Mark Yates, the A5 Redbourne bound, very heavy approaching the Luton Road. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you very much indeed. We know Alice's favourite motorways, but what are yours? Give me a call now, 08459 455. 7:16, it's Monday the 30th of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats Gypsy Roma traveller communities after one of their own officers of Romani descent sued them for racial discrimination. David Cameron has insisted he can do business with the next president of the European Commission despite campaigning against his opponent. And anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about drug dealing when Colombia were in action.
BBC Three Counties Radio. BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
It's just so friendly. It's so friendly.
Quite an attractive, historic, traditional market town.
And all this week, we're featuring Tring.
And Tring is totally surrounded by an area of natural beauty.
Just an easygoing feel about the place.
Inviting everyone to where you live.
A lovely atmosphere, lovely feel. Everyone's very helpful and kind.
It's a place on its own. It's rather special, I think.
If you've got a story everyone should hear about, let us tell them about it.
What you see is what you get, and that's what I like about it. It's an honest place.
Very pleasant, attractive, rural, provincial town.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
I won't move anywhere else.
From BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'm being swallowed by a boa constrictor. I'm being swallowed by a boa constrictor. I'm being swallowed by a boa constrictor, and I don't like it very much. Oh oh no, he swallowed my toe, he swallowed my toe. Oh gee, he's up to my knee, he's up to my knee. Oh fiddle, he's reached my middle, he's reached my middle. Oh heck, he's up to my neck, he's up to my neck. Oh dread, he swallowed my...
It's not funny. Not funny if it happens to you or someone you love. Hertfordshire police have been forced to remove tweets they used to promote anti-crime messages during World Cup matches. The force chose to raise awareness about fraud when Nigeria were playing and drug dealing when Colombia were in action. Some followers branded the messages offensive. Others asked if the whole thing was a joke. Well, are people getting a little bit too excited about nothing, or are they right to be upset by this? I'm joined now by Bucky Olawayan, who is an ex-councillor for Welwyn Hatfield. Good morning, Bucky.
Good morning.
You complained about these tweets. Why did you complain?
One of the reasons why I complained, after getting phone calls from a few Nigerians who live in Hertfordshire, is the relevance to the World Cup. Because the location of the World Cup was not in Nigeria, we felt that there was no relevance, and saying that there's a lot of fraud going on in West Africa and single-handedly naming Nigeria out of the 4 countries that are represented in the World Cup, we felt was inappropriate and the timing was not right.
A lot of internet and email scams do originate from Nigeria, don't they?
Correct. However, the relevance to the World Cup was what we were questioning, because right at this time, Nigeria needs a lot of support because we've got a lot of terrorism and issues, and we've got the kidnapped girls from Chibok, and we need as many allies that we can get as possible. So painting Nigeria in that picture does not help us in any way. And we felt that it might even incite negative things to Nigerians living in Hertfordshire, and there are a lot of us.
This is the message. I think I've got the right message. This is was what was tweeted. Around 117,000 British nationals visit Nigeria each year, and British nationals are increasingly being targeted by scam artists operating in West Africa. The scams come in many forms: romance, friendship, business ventures, work, and can pose great financial risk to victims. For information and advice on protecting yourself, please visit Herts.Police/fraud. It's a sensible message, isn't it, to be aware of? Do you think is it just the timing, Bookie, that you've got a problem with?
It is the timing and the fact that the World Cup would not necessarily make people start going to Nigeria, for which they need to be warned. Now, the people going to Nigeria go to Nigeria for business, and every businessman assesses the risks of the location where they're doing the business, and they take on the risk and still get on the plane to go to Nigeria because there's a lot of gain to make. Now, there is no denying that there are lots of fraud emanating from Nigeria in that form, in which we're not arguing against that. But what we're asking is, what is the relevance to the World Cup? Especially when we know that a lot of Nigerians in Hertfordshire and in the UK are prone to being seen as one of these people. And if all we're asking for is to be fair. On the other African countries from West Africa, the same message was not put out. So if you're saying it's coming from West Africa, then put it out for all the countries.
Bookie, would you have been happier? Would you have been happier then if Herts Police had done a tweet about all of the 4 African countries?
Not just that. If they have done a tweet about crime on all the 32 countries of the World Cup, then it will be fair.
You feel that that Nigeria and Colombia as well, they were the 2 places that they were being unfairly targeted?
If you're going to warn the people against the countries being in the World Cup, as a standard, make sure the information you're giving out is the same. And it doesn't, you can't give out information that attracts people to one country and give out another information that detracts people from another country. We didn't think that was fair.
Bookie, what did Herts Police say in response?
Well, what they said was that they did not aim to offend anyone, and it's now said, well, they didn't mention Nigeria, that they were mentioning West Africa, which was not correct. And I write with that. That's not correct. You're using the time that the slot that Nigeria was playing, you're using the Nigerian flag, and you specifically mentioned Nigeria and not the other countries. So that was, we felt that was not right. However, they've taken it down, and we're happy that at least they're listening and they're sensitive to our complaints.
Disappointing they won't come on this morning, though, isn't it, to explain themselves?
Well, I guess they're busy doing a lot of stuff, which is what we expect them to do after a weekend. On a Monday morning, they've probably got a lot of things to attend to, which is understandable. The most important thing for us is that they've listened, they've heard our side of the story, and they've acted promptly to repair what what we were complaining about, which is what we were asking for.
Bookie, nice to talk to you. Bookie Olawayan, who was a former councillor for Welwyn Hatfield, commenting about those tweets from Hearts Police. It is like your mum going on the internet and just doing stuff. I mean, it's not I wouldn't suggest it's the greatest crime in the world, but it's just your mum going on and being a little bit old-fashioned and a bit rubbish, really, isn't it?
So when France come up, what are they going to do? To complain about rudeness, call...
Do you think the French are rude, Catherine? That's a little bit...
My experience when I lived in Paris was that they were quite rude.
You've had some very rude things happen, yes.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, let's have a look at the papers, shall we? Why not? Because we haven't got much else. Oh, have we got texts? What texts have we got, Catherine?
You've got loads of texts.
Do you want to read them?
My favourite motorway, says Paul in Luton, is the M48.
I don't know that one.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. What's so special about it?
Why? Here we go. This is a genuine question, OK? How do they name motorways? Because it's not in order. They don't do it in order. The M1 was the first motorway. We know that.
Motorway 1.
Motorway 1. But then the rest, it seems quite random, I think.
I'm sure there's a method.
When was the last... Well, we haven't built a motorway for ages. Come on, guys.
What's your favourite marker on the motorway? I like those windmills when you're coming back from the airport.
Sorry?
On the is it on the M25? Or are you coming off the M25 by then? Is it the M1 by then? And the give peas a chance.
Yeah, I like give peas a chance. That's on the M25.
Yeah, I like
give
that.
Give peas a chance. I like a little bit of that. There for quite a long time, there was a dead badger on the slip road off the M25 onto the M4.
Oh, there's a hedgehog on my way to work I'm very sad about. You don't see many of them anymore, do you?
I hit a cat this morning.
No, I don't think you did.
Sorry?
Well, because it wasn't there when maybe it was a ghost cat.
Suddenly, I'm driving along the road, listening to a little bit of Noah and the Whale, feeling young.
And mellow.
No, this was upbeat.
Oh, was it?
And suddenly there's a ginger cat in front of the car. Put the brakes on, because I'm a tough guy. No, because I can do an emergency stop really, really well. It's one of the things I was good at in the driving test. And then there was a thud. Now, I think, because sometimes when you hit the brakes hard, it thuds.
Yeah.
So it may not have been cat. It was right in front of me.
But you checked, didn't you? And there was no cat there.
I went out. I looked, because cats, when they get hit by cars, they often run into bushes. And there was a bush, and I looked under the bush, and I was going, "Are you there? Are you there?" Couldn't see it. I looked under the car. Luckily, the car wasn't damaged, and there was no blood on there. So I don't know, but I thought I hit a cat. I felt terrible.
Yeah. It's sickening, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've never hit a cat. I hit a rabbit once, and I had a headache all day.
I hit a crow once. That's bad juju. You start hitting a crow, man alive.
They get their mates.
You are messing with some serious dark forces. It's like you might as well just get a Ouija board out and do a wee-wee on it.
What?
Has anybody called in to say they drink their own wee-wee?
Yes. Not drink.
Well, they wipe their face with it?
No.
Soak their feet in it?
Maybe.
So, yeah.
Louisa? Do you want to give them a ring back? They can tell their story without Ian spoiling it.
So, have I spoilt it?
Yeah, a bit.
And Louisa, bring your mic round so you can come on and have a little chat.
Here's some more texts. I've only read one.
Go.
You went off on a tangent. This is what good texts do.
Yeah, they promote conversation.
Yeah. David in Marsh Farm. The best motorway I like is the M27. Why? Because it's the route to the Isle of Wight, a place we love. I've never been to the Isle of Wight.
No, I've never been to the British Isles.
The home of the Bee Gees for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They got told to get out of Manchester, didn't they?
Yeah, they were troublemakers. Then they went to Australia.
Do you believe they really were?
They went to Australia, love.
Yeah.
No, of course they weren't.
Linda in Sheffield is concerned.
There was Peter Pafides.
Pete Pafides, Mr. Caitlin Moran.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. He retweeted that he interviewed the Bee Gees in 1997 and he got them to record his answer phone message.
Cool.
And
I just gotta get a message
Yes.
to you.
If you want to leave a message for Pete. They did that. It's the coolest thing in the world.
We did that at university for a German girlfriend who kept ringing the hall phone in the middle of the night. So we made some answer phone messages.
You got the Bee Gees to do it? Because that's the point of the story.
No, I mixed. It was my first hoax.
That's what makes the story interesting. It was the Bee Gees, not that you wound up a love-struck German girl.
I'm calling from Germany. This is not funny. It was funny. We found it funny.
Was it the Bee Gees?
We used the Bee Gees, and
then it doesn't count because it wasn't the Bee Gees.
it was a recording of the Bee Gees.
Louisa, back me up on this.
Yeah, I'm not sure it counts.
It's what they would have wanted.
Her. What she
Sorry.
said.
And we also used
It's
Nobody Gets to... We put on hold music, and that's the whole
Give us
music we
another
used.
Texas.
The Traveller... Oh, this is one from Tony. Travellers being police officers, ha, 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 ha.
I don't get that. That feels vaguely racist to me.
Yeah. Linda in Sheffield is worried about you. If yours is the colour of warm Barocca, you're worryingly dehydrated. It should be straw-coloured. Think warm, weak lemon squash.
No, first thing in the morning. A rich, dark...
All right, OK. And Mike says, so your travel lady says the M25 is her favourite motorway and then tells us in a later report it's extra busy this morning. Of course it is. She's turned it into a tourist destination.
Yeah, everyone's going to have a look.
Mike, good
Oh,
point.
wait, 4, 5... Have you done the Texas?
I'm finished.
In more ways than one.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Firstly, I can only apologise to everyone for making the M25 the place to be this morning, because it is very heavy on the anti-clockwise carriageway.
You sell it, girlfriend!
Yeah, between junction 22 for London Coney and 19 for Watford. Also looking very heavy between junction 18 for Chorleywood and 15 for the M4. The M1 London bound looking heavy between junction 11 for Dunstable and 9 for Redbourne. Then on the speed sensors, on the London Coney roundabout, all approaches looking very heavy at the moment. And on public transport, the Metropolitan line, no trains running at the moment between Chalfont and Latimer and Chesham after a signal failure, but the rest of the line is running okay. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats Gypsy Roma traveller communities after one of their own officers of Romani descent sued them for racial discrimination. David Cameron has insisted he can do business with the next president of the European Commission, despite campaigning against his appointment. And anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about drug dealing when Colombia were in action.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Holland and Costa Rica are through to the World Cup quarter-finals. The Dutch scored 2 late goals to beat Mexico 2-1, whilst Costa Rica beat Greece on penalties after a 1-1 draw. The two will meet in the last 8. The BBC's Danny Murphy says Costa Rica are the surprise team.
To top the group with England, Italy and Uruguay in itself was a huge achievement, and none of us gave them a chance, did we? And overall in the game, they probably just edged it. I mean, the penalties were of real quality, which was the opposite of the game.
Today's last 16 matches are France against Nigeria at 5 and Germany versus Algeria at 9. Luton Managing Director Gary Sweet says the money from the sale of Andre Gray will be reinvested into players and training facilities over the next 2 years. Gray has joined Championship side Brentford for an undisclosed fee. The Hatters say there will be a healthy sell-on should he leave the West London side. Andy Murray faces South Africa's Kevin Anderson in the last 16 at Wimbledon today. Murray's match against the 20th seed is second on centre court.
Yeah, tough opponent. I think he's playing the best tennis of his career so far. I think he's up at his highest ranking. He's made some improvements this year, and he's a big guy with a big game, so I'm going to need to be sharp in that one. I'm going to have to return well if I want to win.
Also today, top seed Novak Djokovic plays Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, but Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer don't play until tomorrow. Hertfordshire's Jodie Williams missed out on the sprint double at the British Championships in Birmingham. She was third in yesterday's 100 metres after winning the 200 metres on Saturday. Hertfordshire's Olympic track cycling champion Laura Trott won the British Road Race Championships, and in cricket's Minor Counties Championship, Hertfordshire resumed this morning on 57 for 3 away to Staffordshire. That's in reply to the home side's 315 all out. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah. I'm excited. Going to buy tickets for the Kinks musical later on today. Don't they go on sale at 8:30? Don't any of you go and buy any of the wheelchair ones. I want them. There's only 4 per performance, and I've seen which performance I want. 2 days after my mother's birthday. So don't. You're going to rob my mum of a birthday treat?
You're telling everyone about it.
No, I'm not. I'm telling them not to buy them. To save them.
Making them more attractive.
Don't book any tickets for October the 4th. Oh, no! No!
What you need to do is discreetly tear all the posters down.
Yeah. The tickets go on sale at 8:30, Catherine, so I'm probably going to nip off early.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right, isn't it?
Be a relief.
Yeah. What? So, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah.
All kinds. Favourite motorway.
Favourite motorway.
Do you want some more Texas?
In a minute, let me set up the stall again. Lots to talk about. Busy show this morning. Busy show. Not,
What stall?
When I'm doing the show.
The any old tat stall?
No, it's like a fruit and veg stall. Is how I see myself as like Pete Beale. Exactly. Like I'm like Pete Beale, and the show is my stall, and I'm setting up my bananas, which is.
Can I be young Kath? She was very glamorous in her day, wasn't she? Before she had the cafe.
We've broken down on the motorway!
Shh. Talking of motorways.
Yes, so my bananas are, what's your favourite motorway?
Okay.
My apples...
Elton John.
Elton John thinks that Jesus would give the Thumbs Up Fun Award to gays. He thinks that Jesus would support gay marriage. My kumquats...
Oh, I thought you'd go grapes.
No. My kumquats, a little bit exotic, a little bit different.
You.
Not everybody likes them.
I don't think everyone's ready for that.
No. What animals have you killed and why? 08459 455 555.
We've had some awful ones, haven't we?
Sorry?
That screaming frog.
Oh, the screaming frog. Read the tweet. Read the tweet.
Well, I'll tell him to put it back.
Hang on.
You not got it.
I read it and then got rid. Hang on.
Right. Okay. I think so.
No, I haven't got it. You read it.
Oh, I haven't got it now. Scott says, I rode over a frog on my paper round. It made such a hideous scream, I tensed up and gave myself whiplash. Frogs do scream. Mm-hmm. They also... Do they burst?
Well, I've never tried that.
I had to kill a vole, and I've told the story about how I had to club a cat to death with a brick, didn't I? What?
I mean, you say it with such gusto.
I said it. I'm proud I did it. It was suffering. It was in Spain. It got run over. It was runned over. Round over. Got hit by a car. Yes. Didn't die. Its body was crushed. It was still alive.
How awful.
My friends were going to leave it. I said, we can't leave it. I got a brick. I said goodbye to it, and
you dispatched it.
I did the do. 08459 455 555 if you'd like a kumquat. Kumquat me. I like saying that.
Jackie Olney says on the text, the best motorway in the country is the M96. It's the shortest, most dangerous motorway in the country.
Oh.
It's the small motorway at the Fire Service College. There's frequently an accident there for training purposes.
What's the A1M all about?
It's all about...
A1 bracket M. What's that all about? It's not a motorway, it's an A road. So what's the M got to do with it?
Motor wish.
Oh, man. Do you know what I'm talking about, Justin?
No, go on, boss.
The A1M.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
It's a motorway.
No, it's not a motorway. That's the M1. That's the A1.
Right.
M.
Yeah.
It's not a motorway.
Well, same thing, though, isn't it? It's a road that you can travel fast on, and you can get from A to B.
Yeah, but it's not a motorway.
Oh, right, OK.
It's an A road.
So, yeah, actually, why the bracket M?
It does my head in things like that, roads like that.
Find a road expert. They'll be out there. They'll be listening.
I'm kind of hoping it's you, Justin.
No, I'm not a road expert. No.
Okay, you're not a road expert.
No.
Okay, well, that's disappointing.
Sorry.
Just an expert on what was in the charts
in
America 30 years ago this very day.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, listen, we are talking about favourite motorways. I have no idea why. I can't remember why. It's a slow news day, Just.
Yeah, it certainly is.
But I know if anybody could go out onto the streets of Beds, Herts and Bucks, the 3 counties, Luton, while we're still here, won't be here for much longer, guys.
Yeah,
I think we're allowed to say that now, aren't we?
We are moving to Dunstable early 2015.
To Dunstable. Well, You are moving. I don't know if I'll still be here. I'm joking. Of course I will, guys. Of course I will. We're all moving to Dunstable, and we're all packing up. We started packing our suitcases and our boxes now. We're putting them in the back of our boy boss's car, and he'll be driving us all there early 2015. But as our leaving gift to Luton, we've sent you around asking people what their favourite motorway is.
Oh, what a joy this one has been. Limited answers, I must admit, but yes, I have been asking the question. Guys, what's your favourite motorway? Ian, here's what people came up with. Morning, sir. What's your name? Stuart, big question of the day. Very, very big. What's your favourite motorway and why?
It's got to be the A1. Just because...
Not a motorway, mate.
The best one to go down.
Do you get quite emotional when you go on the A1?
No. It's just... I've always found it the best one to go down.
Ian wants to know... Morning, by the way, sir. What's your favourite motorway?
Are you joking?
No.
I don't have one, mate.
You don't have one? There must be one, come on.
Oh, I'm partial to the M40.
Why the M40?
Do you know, because it's always empty.
Andy, you're somebody who's on the motorway pretty much all day, every day. What's your favourite motorway and why?
Probably none of them, to be honest.
Oh, come on, there's got to be one.
Probably the M25, because that's the one I'm on the most. I hate it at the same time, because it's a right pain in the bum. Because it is the world's largest car park. But when it's running nice, it runs very nice.
Oh, so when it's running nice, you're thinking, oh, the M25, you're a good friend.
Yeah.
It makes you feel quite emotional when it's running nice.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's a pleasure to drive on it when it's running nice.
One of life's great pleasures?
I wouldn't say great pleasure, no.
Your top 5 pleasures?
Possibly. But, I don't know, I've never really thought of it that way before.
But you are now, aren't you?
Possibly, yeah.
Top 5 great pleasures. Wow. Thank you very much indeed. Take care.
Thank you.
Perhaps the M5 I prefer to anybody else.
Why the M5?
Well, it doesn't seem to be so many roadworks and traffic and things.
First of all, Justin, that first fellow was wrong. It doesn't count. The A1M is not a motorway. I will not have that. And secondly, the gentleman second from end there, can we make it a rule, and this isn't a criticism, mate, can we make it a rule you just interview humans and not robots, please? Is that all right?
Listen, the M25 is in his top 5 great pleasures. That's incredible. That's newsworthy.
Samantha's emailed in. 4 sectors radiate from London. Because I was trying to work out how you number motorways. 4 sectors radiate from London. 1 is north, 2 is east, 3 is south, and 4 is west. So roads between north and east generally begin with a 1. Oh, is that... This is genuinely brilliant.
Road expert.
A10, M11, A12. Between east and south, roads begin with a 2. This is... That's genius, isn't it?
Very clever.
And Derek has picked me up. Ian, hang on a second. You stated the M1 was Britain's first motorway. This is BBC Three Counties Radio, by the way. This is why they got me in, was to funk up the breakfast show a little bit. I said funk.
Yes.
Ian, you stated the M1 was Britain's first motorway. Well, although it was the first full-length motorway, the very first was actually the Preston Bypass, which was the very first stretch of the M6. You're right in there.
The Lancashire Massive.
It opened in December 1958, while the M1 opened 11 months later in 1959.
They cobbled it, you know.
Great info.
Oh, man alive. Shoot me now. Justin.
Yes, boss.
Can we send you out, please? Elton John has said that he thinks Jesus would be giving the thumbs up to gays getting married.
Yeah. Elton... Stick to music, my friend. Yeah. A Vox on the way for after 8 o'clock.
Thank you very much, my friend. It's Justin Dealey.
I'm glad Elton didn't stick to music this morning.
08459 455 555. We all like a bit of Elton John, don't we? But he's rubbish now.
What, the music?
Yeah, the music now. I mean, it's...
Blue Eyes. I'm not going to sing the rest.
That's disappointing. All right, shall I have a look at the papers?
Daniel going to Spain, he made it sound so exotic, didn't he?
Yeah, it was about his brother leaving on an airplane, wasn't it? That's the true meaning of that song.
Yeah.
It's about a brother leaving on an airplane.
It's beautiful.
Shall I do the papers now?
Go on, it won't take long, will it?
No, it won't take long. Front page of the papers. Labour offers olive branch to business. Boring. Dolly Parton sings at Glastonbury. Boring. Iraqis. Serious, but boring. Ukraine. The Telegraph. Here we go. Prince's battle for grammar schools. No, not Prince. Charles, isn't it? What's Prince's real name?
Oh, I think his name's Prince.
No, but what's his real name?
His first name's Prince.
No, but what was his name he was given as a kiddie?
Yeah, his name's Prince.
Yeah, but what did they christen him as?
Prince.
But, yeah, I know, but what's his name?
Prince.
OK, but what is Prince's actual name?
Prince.
But what do they call him at home?
Prince.
No, but you know, what does he sign his name as?
Prince.
What's on his driving licence?
Prince.
What's his name, though?
Prince.
I know that, but what's his real name?
Hang on, let me look it up online.
Okay. Kevin?
It's Prince.
Oh. Kevin?
Yeah?
Do you know what Prince's real name is?
Sorry, I don't.
Okay, well, okay. What do you reckon it is, Kath?
Prince.
What would you like to say about motorways, Kevin?
Well, you said the A1M isn't a motorway.
No, it's not.
It is.
Well, it's not, mate. It's an A road with an M in brackets after it.
No, the A1M has motorway status. The A1 doesn't.
What do you mean? It's got motorway status?
Yes, it has.
You can't give something. It's like saying Come
on, then. You've got a lot of You're stuck. And you need a new needle.
No, it's like... Who was that fella who filled in for Freddie Mercury when it wasn't Freddie Mercury?
Prince.
No, forget Prince. Who was the fella?
George Michael.
No.
He did, though.
I know he did. So did David.
Lovely job.
No, the fella who filled in for Prince. Not Prince, Freddie Mercury from the Queen. Who is it?
Don't know.
Right. It's like saying, Kevin, that the fella who filled in for Freddie Mercury from Queen is actually... it's like awarding him full Queen membership status. Ah. Who's silent now, fella?
So.
You are.
I don't think so, Ian.
Well, you can't say an A.
Well, I'll tell you what. To settle the question, you have plenty of police officers on this radio station.
Not this morning, we haven't.
Well, not.
They all refuse to come on. Yes,
they won't show up. But the next time you do, ask the question.
But Kevin, can we really trust the police in these troubled times?
Well, sometimes you have to, don't you?
And Kevin, thank you very much indeed. You're wrong, but yes.
You know Prince?
Yeah.
On Wiki it says he's also known as, and I think someone's been messing with this because this is preposterous.
Go on.
Jamie Starr, Christopher Alexander Nevermind, the purple one, Joey Coco.
Joey Coco. Hey, got tickets for Joey Coco at the weekend. I hope he does Purple Rain.
Symbol and the artist formerly known as Prince. But he's called Prince Rogers Nelson.
Does he?
Yeah, that's his real name.
Oh, that was his name. I thought it was some gossip you were spreading. Joey Coco from now on in my book. Hey, a bit of Joey Coco. 08459 455 555. I appreciate Kevin calling, but he's wrong, isn't he? He's wrong. Alice.
Yes.
The A1M isn't a motorway, is it?
No, it's like a part motorway. It's like joins up with...
But it's not...
No.
And you're the travel expert.
Yep.
Oh, Alice, I'm going to enjoy it when you work here.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound, slow going between junction 11 for Dunstable and 9 for Redbourne. The M25 anti-clockwise extremely heavy this moment with queues in patches between junction 22 for London Coney and 15 for the M4. In Kings Langley, the A41 is queuing as you head towards the M25 at the moment. And on public transport, Metropolitan line, no trains between Chalfont and Latimer and Chesham after a signal failure, but the rest of the line running without any problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Alice. I said to you, Kath, I said we get phone calls about the motorways. That'll be the thing that takes off. You're a sad lot, you are. Aren't you? Morning, 7:46. It is Monday, the 30th of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats Gypsy Roma traveller communities after one of their own officers of Romani descent sued them for racial discrimination. David Cameron has insisted he can do business with the next president of the European Commission, despite campaigning against his appointment. And anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about drug dealing when Colombia were in action. 08459 455 555. Douglas, stay there. We'll speak to you after the weather with Georgina.
Beds, Herts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello there, quite a nice day today with lots of sunny spells around, varying amounts of cloud and just a small chance of showers. They'll be fairly light and quite short-lived where they do fall, but for many of us it will be quite a dry day with temperatures reaching 18 or 19 degrees Celsius. And tonight, quite cool again under largely clear skies. Just a low possibility of the odd light shower and temperatures down to 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. And another bright start to tomorrow, probably a little bit chilly again as well. Some more of those sunny spells, perhaps a little more cloudy come the afternoon, but we are looking at highs of 19 or 20 degrees Celsius. Those temperatures gradually rise through the week, so Wednesday, Thursday, we could end up having the warmest day of the year so far. That's your latest forecast.
Every weekday morning.
My show's called The JVS Show, 9 o'clock in the morning on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
I deal with the consumer problems that affect people all over Beds, Herts and Bucks.
And I said, well, I didn't come all this way to be looking at a broken down hotel.
Those companies, those councils, those organisations that are letting people down.
This guy turned around and said to me that they're not prepared to pay me, and I said, so you're forcing me to take action. And he said, good luck, and put the phone down on me.
I get my teeth into them.
Oh, Jonathan, I'll start crying soon. We don't know what to do.
Deal with them and hopefully get results for you, the consumers.
And it got so convoluted, I thought there's only one person who can sort this out.
The JVS Show on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Take your teeth out of the woman, JVS. She's crying, for goodness sakes. Douglas is in Barton. Good morning, Douglas.
Morning.
What would you like to say, sir?
Yeah, well, basically, the reason it has the M is because it starts off the A1 as an ordinary road.
Yeah.
And if you've gone up to Peterborough at any time, you'll find they do the cycling up there with the cycling clubs. But before you get to Peterborough, it does turn into a motorway, and then you're not allowed any cycles or learners on
But
there.
does that then... But hang on a second. So it turns into a motorway, but does that become the M1?
No, it doesn't, because you've already got the M1 that more or less carries on...
But then how can you have a motorway that's got a similar name?
No, it is telling you that it turns in... Say you want to cycle to Peterborough on the A1.
I would not choose to do that.
You cannot cycle the whole way.
Right.
Because it turns into motorway restrictions, and you have to turn off.
Right.
That is why they put the M.
But why would you go up there on a bicycle to Peterborough? Get the train.
They could. Before they brought in the restrictions... you'll find that these cycle clubs used to go further up the A1. Now they go off, I think it's about 15 miles before, where it turns into a motorway. And that is why they put the M, I'm sure of it. You're right that the first part of it is A1, and it used to be A1 all the way up, right the way up to Yorkshire. Yeah, but they put the M, because if you wanted to cycle all the way
Why would you want
A1...
Why would you want to cycle all the way?
Well, some people do, you know.
Oh, I hate cycling.
You don't?
Oh, I hate it.
Well,
Terrible activity.
I'm older now, but I still cycle.
Douglas, how come you know so much about the A1 brackets M?
The A1 we've used for years. Even when the children were younger, we'd go up to Yorkshire on it.
It's
the
UK's longest numbered road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Douglas, I appreciate your input. Thank you. I knew it. I told you, Kath. Talking about Elton John and gays and Jesus and all that. Talking about, worthy stuff, racism in... potential racism by the Herts Police in terms of their tweets and things like that. People want to talk about motorways.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Kill me now. Hey, is Matt Lockwood doing a pond update later this week?
Thursday.
Beautiful.
Thursday's pond date.
He's got some guests lined up and everything.
They're furious.
We'll have that Thursday. 08459 455 555.
Do you think anyone rode that heron this weekend?
Oh, I bet there was someone riding the heron. There must have been. It's there. It's so tempting. How could you not? No, we don't condone it. Now, from today, you don't have to be a parent or a carer to ask your boss for more flexible hours. The law is changing to allow all employees with 20 weeks service the right to ask, although that's not to say that they have to say yes to you. We can speak to Sid Nadim, founder of digital agency Clock. Good morning, Sid.
Good morning, Ian.
Sid,
Lovely to be here.
I believe that a significant number of your staff are on flexi time. How many people is it?
Ian, Clock's a digital agency who design and build websites, and there's another agency that I work with called
Swipe Station, and it's all about product and voucher stuff. The reason I mention it is because that Swipe Station is a smaller company, only employs about 4 people. Clock is employing 43 people, but ever since our inception as an agency, as a Prince's Trust startup, 17 years ago, we've been embracing work-life balance and flexible working policies from day one. So it means you can finish at 2 on a Friday. We have our core hours between 11 and 2, which you've got to be working during to count as part of your day. But we allow people to work from home as well, which is great. We even we've got some community bicycles. So if people do want to cycle on the A1, they can.
Don't encourage that. Well, I suppose for a digital business, it is slightly different, isn't it, as opposed to, I don't know, working in a shop or something like that, because I would imagine that a significant amount of your work could be done at home.
You're right, Ian. I think there is. We're pretty fortunate in this industry, but I'm here to say to all businesses: look for ways to help your staff to work flexibly and embrace this change. I think, for instance, even in the retail sector, you say, "Oh, people have got to be there when customers are there." I say, but is it really busy at 9 a.m.? Does everybody have to be in the office or in the workplace at that time, or can it be flexed? And I think a lot of people actually are already doing these things anyway without their bosses knowing. And actually, I'd encourage business owners, small and large companies, to look at that and find ways that they can help their staff work flexibly.
How does it work at Clock, Sid? Do I say, look, listen, boss, next Thursday, my kids in the school play at 2:00, so could I leave at 1:30, but I'll come in Friday a couple of hours earlier? Is that how it works?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And I think the challenge with this is that if you've got... With flexibility comes responsibility, and what we find is that people realise that if they want flexibility when they need it, that they're going to have to support their colleagues when they need it. And so you get people helping each other out a lot more, and a much more grown-up way of working. And I think if you treat people with respect and trust, and responsibility, they're trustworthy and responsible.
And does it create a better working environment, in your opinion?
Oh, of course it does.
Yeah.
And if you get people to be part of the solution, you give them a challenge and say, listen, we've got to get this thing done, whatever that is. What's the best way of doing it? And they'll come up with ideas that you wouldn't even have imagined. And you've got happy people, happy staff are there working better for clients, working better for themselves. And we need to get out of this idea of presenteeism, and people say, look, you give them the responsibility, and they'll rise to the challenge.
Sid Nadim, founder of digital agency Clock, thank you very much. Joined now by Marcus Mason from the British Chambers of Commerce. Morning, Marcus. How are today's changes likely to work in practice?
Well, I mean, first of all, what I'd say is, we're very supportive of flexible working, and in fact, as was mentioned earlier in your interview, businesses across the country are using this already, and many of our members as well, often informally. So, in a way, this change in legislation is perhaps unnecessary because we're already seeing this across the country becoming more and more standard practice. I think in terms of the immediate effects of this legislation, there are some issues, and in some ways it could backfire. Most importantly, those most in need of flexible working, so parents and carers, may find themselves in a situation where they struggle to get the flexible working that they need. Because with the new legislation, each request for flexible working has to be dealt with equally.
Bosses can't prioritise, can they? So if a mum who's got a kid wants flexi time, and also just some bloke wants it, that they've got to put their names in a hat, haven't they, and pick it at random.
That's right, and I think that could cause a real issue for those that need it the most. And many of our members are saying to us, will it become illegal for me to give priority to people who are parents or carers? And at the moment, it appears that the answer is yes. All requests need to be treated equally, and as a result, we may have a situation where flexible working, as a result of this legislation coming in, could become more difficult to access for those that need it the most. I think that would be a real shame. I mean, on top of that, this legislation will also bring about a huge amount of new claims, which will increase red tape and processing time for small businesses in particular. It will also probably increase the number of formal request, discrimination claims and grievance claims as employees bring up grievances against other employees who have taken flexible time. So I think whilst we're obviously very supportive of the idea of flexible working, in practice this legislation still really needs to bed in, and I think the onus is on the government really to explain how the law will work in order to avoid confusion in businesses across the country. I mean, first of all, it needs to be clear that this is a right to ask, and that's not to be confused with a right to have flexible working. And I think in some cases people may be getting confused about that. And then, as we talked about earlier, it's really important that the government gives guidance on how to prioritise, if at all, requests for flexible working.
Marcus, thank you very much indeed. Marcus Mason, 08459 455 555. It begs the question, Catherine.
Yes.
Can I come in at 10 tomorrow?
No.
Disappointing reaction, but I've got the right to ask.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I have the right to say no.
Hang on a minute, you're not the boss of me.
Yes, I am.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Are you really, though?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Deal with it.
What about my boy boss and my lady boss, as my son calls them?
Well, yeah, they're the boss of me. You don't need to worry about that.
Flippin' heck. Who am I the boss of? Scoins? Justin? I'm the boys of Kelly.
The boys?
The boys. I'm the boys of Kelly.
OK, you could be the boss of Kelly.
Yeah, nice one. Where is she? She's fired.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound at Junction 1 for Staples Corner. One lane is closed after an accident, and that's causing queues on the approach at the moment. Also, the London bound M1 looking slow between Junction 11 for Dunstable and 10 for Luton. The M25 anti-clockwise very heavy between Junction 22 for London Coney and 15 for the M4. Also on the speed sensors, the A1M southbound very slow between Junction 8 for Hitchin and 7 for Stevenage. On public transport, the Metropolitan line has no trains running between Chalfont and Latimer and Chesham after a signal failure, but the rest of the line running OK. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Alice. Ah, dearie me. So, would Jesus be giving the thumbs up to gay marriage? Would he have open arms, welcoming homosexual couples? Elton John seems to think so. What do you think?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: police review gypsy policy after officer sues them. Bedfordshire MP backing Cameron in Europe row. And Hearts police remove World Cup Twitter messages.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats gypsy Roma traveller communities after one of their own officers, who is of Romani descent, sued them for racial discrimination. Jim Davis's case has now been settled out of court. Barrister Jack Feeney represented Mr Davis.
The police have facilitated, and again, there's credit to them, they facilitated the Gypsy Romani Traveller Police Association, which Mr Davis is chairing, and that's effectively a body to protect current police officers who are of a traveller ethnicity. Secondly, I think to improve links between the police and the traveller community generally. And thirdly, hopefully to encourage more people of traveller ethnicity to become police officers.
David Cameron says he won't give up his fight to reform the European Union despite failing to block the nomination of Jean-Claude Juncker as the next president of the European Commission. Conservative MP for North East Bedfordshire Alistair Burt, a former Foreign Office minister, says there could be advantages for the UK.
I think there is all to play for from here. There will be some compensatory feelings on the side of those who have supported Mr Juncker, even though it's clear he wasn't the preference for many of the leaders, but they've worked with the system that there is, and that might therefore play to David Cameron's advantage.
A Buckinghamshire pensioner who suffers from dementia has been found after driving to London from his home in Flackwell Heath. Police used ANPR cameras to track 80-year-old Bruce Adams' journey into the capital yesterday morning. morning. He was found by Met Police officers yesterday afternoon. Every employee in the UK who's worked for more than 6 months has the right to request flexible working hours under a new law that comes into force today. Until now, only parents and carers have been eligible, but it's been extended to include 20 million workers. The Deputy Prime Minister, Nick Clegg, says flexible working can benefit employers and their workers.
Everybody's entitled to ask for that flexible working. Employers are duty-bound to consider them reasonably, and experience shows that where employers and employees talk to each other in a sensible manner, 9 times out of 10 a solution is found, and 9 times out of 10 it actually helps the company as well.
Anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about fraud when Nigeria were playing and drug dealing when Colombia were in action. Herts Police say it was never their intention to cause offence. Former Welwyn Hatfield councillor Buki Olawoyan is one of those who complained.
You're using the Nigerian flag and you specifically mentioned Nigeria and not the other countries. So that was we felt that was not right. However, they've taken it down, and we're happy that at least they're listening and they're sensitive to our complaints.
In sport, Holland and Costa Rica are through to the World Cup quarter-finals. The Dutch scored 2 late goals to beat Mexico 2-1, whilst Costa Rica beat Greece on penalties after a 1-1 draw. The weather mainly dry and sunny with the risk of the odd shower this afternoon. The maximum temperature 21 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Very friendly people, extremely friendly. There's a very strong sense of community.
It's all about where you live.
Just an easygoing feel about the place.
And it's got a fantastic history.
And all this week, we're featuring Tring.
It's quite an attractive, historic, traditional market town.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 4 minutes past 8, guys. We can do this. I can see the finishing line. It's a way away, but we can make it. Lots to talk about this morning, including, well, it's a motorway phone-in, guys. What's your favourite motorway? I knew you'd go for that. I knew you would. Ever drank, soaked your feet in, or wiped your face with urine? Morning. Kids are asking, Mummy, what's urine? It's wee-wee. It's wee-wee. Yep. Ever killed an animal? And here's something. Who uses their landline? Who uses their landline anymore? I've got one. I don't use it. All I get on there are messages from debt collection agencies wanting someone called Nick Parker's. Not me. According to the minimum income standards, the landline phone is no longer an essential household item. I don't even know what my landline number is. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
We'll chuck it all out there. See if any of it sticks. Also, Elton John has said Jesus would he said 2 things. Catholic priests should be allowed to get married and have sex. And also that Jesus would support gay marriage. I don't know. Would he? Don't know the fella. Don't know if the fella existed. Don't know. Lots of you getting very angry on Facebook about those comments. Why don't you give us a call? 08459 455 555. Dave Luton?
Good morning, Prince.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, good morning, Joey Coco.
Yes, and you.
And you.
A1M.
Yes, not a motorway.
It starts and ends at Potter's Bar and starts and ends at Biggleswade.
Well, how can it start... Hang on a minute. Dave,
yeah?
You've just said something ridiculous.
Yeah?
How can it start and end in one place and then start and end in another place? It starts in one place and it ends in another place.
No, excuse me. If you're coming down from north, you get on it at Biggleswade.
Right.
And you come off it at Potter's Bar. That's the end.
That's the start.
No. So if you're coming from London,
yes,
you get on at Potter's Bar.
That's the start.
And you get off at Biggleswade.
Yeah. So that's the Potter's Bar is the start and Biggleswade is the end.
Yeah, if you're going from London, if you're coming
Correct.
from north, it's the other way round, isn't it?
Exactly. Biggleswade is the end and Potter's Bar is the start.
No, if you're coming down from north,
Yes.
it starts at Biggleswade and ends at Potter's Bar.
Yeah, no, but...
Where's your logic?
Okay, all right, listen. All right, where's your logic, Dave? Imagine you got snakes and ladders board, right?
Oh, here we go.
You've got a snakes and ladders board, right?
Yeah.
And what is it, 100 squares on there?
No, hold on. No, in snakes and ladders, you can start at only one place.
Yeah, at the start, but supposing you started at the end, would that be the start?
No.
Exactly. Exactly, that would be the end. You're starting at the... You've got a book, Dave. You've got a book.
Oh,
you may not have
dear.
heard of those. They're a bit... Let's say you've got a Harry Potter book because you like reading children's literature, right?
No, I don't. No,
You start... You've got the end of the book, right? You're at the last page where it says, and he dies, the end,
Oh,
right?
my God, yeah.
Are you starting at the start of the book or the end of the book?
No, listen.
Yeah, that's the end of the book, isn't it, Dave?
No,
so, the A1 starts at Potter's Bar and ends at the other place you just mentioned.
Look, listen, Hypo Prince.
What?
It's Hypo Prince.
Are you talking about Joey Coco?
You.
Yes.
If you're coming down from the north...
Yes.
Well, you hit the motorway A1.
For goodness sakes.
Right, that's the start of it.
No, it's not. The start of it is Potter's Bar.
No, it's not. What are you
what?
beefing on about?
Where did they start building it?
Where?
Yeah.
Well, the A1M's been going for years.
Well, yeah, but it must have started. They must have built it at some point. Weren't there forever?
North. They started it up the north first.
Right. Well, then that's the start. And Potter's Bar's the end.
Dear, for all I come on to say about the A1M.
Yeah, I know you're talking out your backside.
By the way, Dennis of Dunsford's going to be very happy now, isn't he? Soon.
Why is that? Why?
When BBC Three goes from Luton to Dunstable,
Yeah,
if he had to pop in and
a BBC Three going there as well. It's going to be a bit of a squeeze if BBC Three and BBC Three Counties Radio are there at the same time.
Well, BBC Three Counties Radio is going to be there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, is BBC Three going to be there as well?
Well, it didn't say that in the paper.
Well, what? Hang on a minute. So who's going to be there?
Three Counties Radio.
Exactly. And is BBC Three going to be there as well?
No.
Then what? Oh, for goodness. Catherine, who let him through?
Me.
Why?
I like Dave.
Oh, for goodness. How can you like that? 08459 455 555. Now, an out-of-court settlement has been reached in the case of a Thames Valley policeman angry at his colleagues' attitudes towards travellers. Traffic officer Jim Davis is from a Romany background and feels it's unfair to use a blanket term to cover such a varied group of nomadic communities. He also felt there was an assumption travellers would be criminals and complained that some officers used the word pikey. Thames Valley Police will now have to review its policies and practices. We can speak now to Romany journalist Jake Bowers. Morning, Jake.
Good morning.
Jake, what's your reaction to this?
Well, I think it's always brave for somebody who's part of a big institution to take on the received culture of that institution the way that Jim Davis has, and to see it all the way through to the end through a legal process. I mean, I think it's a brave, courageous thing to do. I mean, the police is hardly known as being a hotbed of mavericks and radicals, so I'm sure he felt very justified and provoked in doing so.
He's not taken it all the way through to a legal conclusion, has he? This was settled out of court.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's still a legal conclusion. Often, as you know, a lot of court cases, or a lot of legal cases, don't make it to court because people do resolve their differences in the process, and that's the important thing as well. Is that Thames Valley Police have obviously held their hands up and said, you know, we've got some learning and some change to do in this area, and that's to be welcomed.
What words should be used to describe Gypsy Roma traveller communities?
Well, I mean, the right name for the group or the person involved. I mean, if your name's not Bob, you're not going to like being called Bob. I'm from a Romany community, and it's important that I'm known as a Romany person or a Gypsy person. To me, they're interchangeable terms. A blanket word like travellers is a bit of a kind of, I don't know, it's a bit of a euphemism. It doesn't really mean anything.
But Gypsy Romas travel, don't they?
Actually, that's probably the nub of the entire point. There are about 12 million Romany people in Europe, and most of them have been long settled, often for many, many generations, particularly in Eastern Europe. I mean, there's now a big Romanian Romany community in Luton, and most of them would know one end of the caravan from another. So that's why it's really important that you get the name right. Another reason is that you get ridiculous politicians coming out saying, well, if they're travellers, they should travel. you cannot define ethnic groups just by a particular form of behaviour.
So are we, and I hope I'm not sounding flippant, Jake, I'm genuinely slightly scratching my head and want to make sure I get this right in the future. Sure. Are there any groups that we should label as travellers? Or is that an offensive term in itself now?
No, I wouldn't say it's an offensive term. If there is one group that they should be called travellers, it is Irish travellers, because that's how they refer to themselves. Just as, if you refer to yourself as English, then you're English. It's the name that people choose for themselves that's most important, I think.
What lessons do Thames Valley Police need to take on board, do you think, Jake?
Well, I don't think it's just Thames Valley Police. I think it's actually all institutions, but particularly policing institutions, because they're often at the sharp end of, the ongoing conflict that there is between Gypsy Roma traveller communities and the rest of society. And what they need to realise is that in the Thames Valley area, as in many English counties areas, Gypsy Roma traveller communities are often the largest ethnic group. They need to be treated as such, with the respect that comes with a cultural and an ethnic identity. So in the same way that, we wouldn't want the police using the N-word about everybody that's black, the word pikey, which is deeply offensive to all of us, should be consigned to the dustbin. That's one lesson that they should learn. But it's great that they're working now with the Gypsy Roma Traveller Police Association, started by Jim Davies and his colleagues, because they've got the expertise within their own ranks, and it's brilliant now that Jim has started this organisation, so that the Gypsy Roma Traveller Police officers that are there, that have been hiding their identity because of the stigma, can come out and help reform their own institution.
Are they going to have many members of this group, Jake? Are there many Gypsy Roma police officers?
Well, I think across the country at the moment there's 50 or 60, which is, I'm sure, just the tip of the iceberg when you consider that there is widespread institutional racism against these communities. So for those 50 or 60 people to come out is already a brave step, because it's proven time and time again that it's going to be really hazardous for your career if you declare that you have an ethnic identity which is perceived by many police forces to be one which is inherently criminal. Now, that's an outdated, very horrible right-wing view that needs to be challenged, and that's why it needs to come from the inside. It needs to come from Gypsy, Roma and Traveller police officers. I mean, I've been trying as a community member for years down where I live in Sussex, and we've had some success, but it's going to be so much more successful if it comes from police officers themselves.
Jake, thanks very much for your time. Jake Bowers there, 08459 455 555. If you want to have your say on that.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound, there was an earlier accident at Junction 1 for Staples Corner, and we've still got queues on the approach at the moment. Elsewhere on the M1 London bound carriageway, slow between Junction 11 for Dunstable and 10 for Luton. We've had an update from Sarah in Olney. The Wellingborough Road heading south is partially blocked near Lily Hill. That's after an accident involving multiple vehicles, making things quite slow as you go through that area at the moment. On public transport, there's no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. It's 8:15. It's Monday the 30th of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats Gypsy Roma traveller communities after one of their own officers of Romani descent sued them for racial discrimination. David Cameron has insisted he can do business with the next president of the European Commission, despite campaigning against his appointment. And anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about drug dealing when Colombia were in action.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Nick Coffer, across beds, hearts and bucks.
I'm at Bletchley Park today for a very, very important special occasion. For me, being out of the studio is about putting faces to names and bringing to life all that's brilliant about beds, hearts and bucks. If you know the high street here and you've never seen what goes on behind you really should, because it's like a whole new world.
Nick Coffer.
I think for my listeners, they get a chance to hear about places they may never have visited. In fact, they may never have heard of. And also, they hear the stories from the people that bring those places to life.
That is one of the mysteries of Abbots Langley Fire Brigade.
Nick Coffer, Across Beds, Hearts and Bucks on BBC Three Counties Radio. Across Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
That's you. That's me, it is.
Oh, what a range.
I'm like Mariah Carey. I've got 7 octaves in me.
Aren't you?
No, I just...
By the way, I completely agree with you about the M40.
Yes. Isn't it lovely motorway?
The M40. The M1 is the most boring.
It is
When you're on the M1, there's nothing to see. On the M40, some of the countryside's majestic.
Well, on the M1, you do get to see, once you get to about 16, 17, you get to see some nice wind turbines, which I think are very beautiful.
No, they're just before 15, actually.
Are they just before 15?
On the
thank
left-hand
you.
side.
Yes, I think they're nice. But the M40, I think it's a great... There's a boozer on there, so you can start off with a few beers.
If you ever go to... Because the only other time I use the M40 is when I go up Bicester.
Yeah. Oh.
And, you know, there's that bit where you kind of cut through and they're all big chalk banks on either side. And then you come round the corner and then there's the most breathtaking view over the English countryside of Oxfordshire.
Wonderful, yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful part of
it's great.
Of the world.
Very rarely congested, the M40. M1 all the time. M4, oh, don't even get me started. A terrible road.
Yes.
Terrible road.
Yes.
M40 straight through.
I've loved your motorway chat this morning.
Thank you very much. I knew it would take off.
Yeah,
shame they've not gone for the slightly more serious stuff. But I'm not fussed by that. I know my audience.
No, it's really nice. It's nice.
What's on your show today? Are you going to carry on the motorway discussion?
No, we'll leave that at 9.
If you want. I won't be
it's very
offended.
kind of you. No, but I think, to be honest, by 9 you'll have done that.
I'll come on and talk a bit about it if you want.
Will you?
I'll be happy to.
Oh, great. No, we're going to talk about this local story regarding the police officer who has managed to take successful legal action against Thames Valley Police. They settled before it got to that stage. From 9 this morning, I'm going to be asking, do you think more should be done to stop people being racist towards gypsies and travellers? Thames Valley Police have reached an out-of-court settlement with an officer who accused them of racism against Romany gypsies. Romany traffic officer Jim Davies, he sued the force for racial discrimination, arguing other officers used the word traveller in a negative way to describe anyone from a traveller, gypsy or Romany background. He also said colleagues would use the word pikey when describing Romany people, and that this kind of prejudice is not unique to the police. It's found across society as a whole. From 9 this morning, I want to hear your views on this. Do you think more should be done to stop people being racist towards gypsies and travellers? I wonder whether there's anyone listening to the programme this morning. There are 2 groups of people I'd like to hear from. I'd really love to hear from any travellers or gypsies or Romany gypsies who are listening this morning, and you can give me some examples after 9 as to what you've experienced, what prejudice you've experienced, what you have to put up with on a daily basis. Are you one of those people that actually you keep your background private and secret at work because you don't want to face discrimination? I also want to hear from people who admit that they are racist towards gypsies or travellers or Romany gypsies. And I wonder whether some people, they feel it's almost like a strange dichotomy, because they would never dream of being racist towards a black person or an Asian person, but they say, you know what, I am a bit racist towards gypsies and travellers. I wonder why you think that's acceptable. 08459 455 555. Do you think more should be done to stop people being racist towards gypsies and travellers? It's the big phone in from 9.
Across Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455, etc., etc., etc. Barbara's in Stevenage. Barbara, what's your favourite motorway?
I like the A1M.
Well, it's not. No, it's not. That's not a motorway.
Well, the actual origination of that is Roman, because the A1 is the A1 north to York, and if you go into Stevenage, just in front of the Gordon Craig Theatre, lift that little bit of paving, there is a cobbles underneath, which is Roman, and therefore, if you just literally they followed the A1 followed the route of the Roman road.
Yeah.
But I like the bit at the bottom because it gets you into London.
Yeah, it's a great, that bit at the bottom, isn't it?
The bit at the bottom. I remember them digging out at Hatfield. So
yeah,
I've got one more for you.
Go on, Barbara.
A bend in the road goes round something that isn't there anymore.
Sorry?
What? A bend in the road goes round something that isn't there anymore.
What does that mean? It sounds like a riddle.
No, it is. It's true. If you go down a
To the
country
woods
lane,
today, country lane.
and there's a bend in the road, there was something there to start with.
No, hang on a second. Surely it's just to get you to where you're going.
Nope.
If you're going somewhere and it's not... roads have to bend at some point to get you to where you're going.
Yeah, but if you look at the road originally, it should be straight. It just goes around a tree that has fallen down, and then they paved around it.
What road?
Any road.
You're absolutely bonkers.
No, true. A bend in the road. Ask anybody. A bend
All right,
in the road.
hang on a second. Louisa, does a bend in the road go around something that used to be there?
I don't know, but it sounds like a complex riddle to me.
Yeah, you see. So I've just asked somebody and they've said no, but shall I ask someone else?
Somebody's a bit older than Louisa.
Okay, well, Catherine's significantly older than Louisa. Catherine, I mean, you're old enough, literally. Anyway, won't say that, but you know what I'm thinking. Catherine.
You know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know you are, Catherine, and I'm a... Oh, gosh. What does that hand gesture mean? Catherine, does a bend in the road mean it's going around something that used to be there?
Yeah.
Well, you're just saying that just because I was rude about your age, your significant
Were you? I didn't notice.
Developing age.
But I think Barbara sounds like a rational person.
Hang on a minute. Colin?
Yes?
Right, Barbara's phoned up, and as far as I'm concerned, with the greatest of respect, Barbara has spouted a load of old hogwash.
Go on, then.
She has said, Colin... Say it again, Barbara, to Colin.
That a bend in the road goes round something that isn't there anymore.
Quite often it does, yes.
He's proving my point, Barbara.
No, I'm proving Barbara's point.
No, you're not, Colin.
I am.
Let me explain why. Barbara.
Yes?
You're saying this rule applies every bend in the road, yeah?
Near enough. If it doesn't go around a boundary, it goes around something that isn't there anymore.
Colin just said quite often it does. And do you know what? Quite often maybe it does.
Yes.
But I would say... maybe only 15%.
And also, it's to stop sheep getting bored going on the travel.
Oh, you're talking absolute twaddle now.
Oh, Barbara, that's naughty.
No, the Welsh. You wait. You ask anybody, and that's true.
Right. Well, hang on a minute. You can't. Barbara, you'd be a terrible lawyer defending a murder case. Yeah, no, Your Honour, he didn't commit the murder. You ask anybody, it's true. You can't use that as an argument. That's not science.
Ask a sheep farmer.
Hang on a minute, Catherine.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, shut up.
Thank you, Catherine.
Barbara, goodbye. Thank you very much indeed. Do you know what? I kind of could have gone for the bend in the road, but there are bends in the road, Colin, to make the journey more interesting for sheep.
I suppose there is a logic.
No, there's no logic to it. If you've got sheep, you want them to go. Why would you be bothered if the journey is interesting?
Because in medieval and older times, they went right across the country, sometimes from Wales to London.
Right, yeah.
And they would have to go round obstacles.
Yeah.
So,
what? You're literally just making words up. You don't know what the next word is going to be in this sentence, do you?
Eh?
Exactly. OK, so the thing about... Barbara, have you gone?
No, I'm here.
No, is your name Barbara?
Oh, sorry.
No, she's gone. Good. Right, OK, so Colin, she was saying bends in the roads mean they're going around something that used to be there that isn't there.
Yeah, it could be a house, a
She
tree,
then contradicted herself.
a pond.
Yeah, I know what could have been in the way. She then contradicted herself by saying the bends in the roads are to make the journeys more interesting for sheep. Why would you do... Who cares whether sheep are bored or not?
Well, they did in the olden days.
Why?
Why? Because they had to go such long distances.
So what does a bored sheep do, Colin?
It'll try and run away, so you're keeping them happy to make them more obedient.
There are better ways of keeping sheep happy than having bendy roads.
No, you've got to go back hundreds and hundreds of years. Don't forget, you know, these things were dreamed up.
We shall maketh the roadeth bendy, so that the sheepeth do not become boredeth.
Yeah, quite.
OK. You've not called in about bendy sheep, though, have you, Colin?
I've called it about telephones, landlines.
Yeah, then apparently, for the first time ever, landlines are not an essential piece of kit anymore. That's according to the minimum income standards, whoever they are.
Oh, I don't know. But I use mine all the time. It's the cheapest way for me to make phone calls.
Have you got a mobile?
I have.
All right. And do you know your landline phone number?
Yep.
What is it?
0158.
Don't actually give it out, you plum. It was a joke.
No, I know. I wasn't going to go any further.
Oh, you little tease.
Anyway, my number's readily available to anybody.
What does that mean?
It is.
Okay, so but you're an old man. What, you in your 70s?
Hey,
what?
I'm not that old.
How, 60s? Late 60s?
No.
How old are you?
56.
Oh, Colin, why lie?
No, I'm not lying.
We're all pulling a shocked face. You have got the voice of a very... Do you smoke a lot?
Yes.
Yeah, the voice of a very, very old man, isn't it, Catherine?
Gravelly.
Is that a gravitas? That's what I
I would have said 72.
He's very distinguished, isn't he?
How old do you think his voice sounds?
I would say about...
Careful.
60...
69, 65. Okay.
Yeah.
Louise, how old do you think Colin sounds? But listening, you're never going to speak to him again, so...
I think Colin sounds a bit sort of early 60s Silver Foxish.
Oh, Silver Foxish. She sounds like a... Oh, OK. Sheila?
Good morning.
How old do you think Colin sounds? Colin,
Well, yeah.
Colin, can you say a sentence? Can you say, my name is Colin and I'm 72?
My name is Colin and I'm not 72.
How old do you think he sounds, Sheila?
43.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Sheila, what have you called in about, please?
Well, number one...
Yep.
There are a lot of people like myself who still have a landline because it's cheaper than having one of those other little things.
Older generation?
No. In actual fact, if you're wanting to get a mortgage, young people, very often, if you've got a landline, you'll get one a lot quicker.
There's a younger generation knocking at the door. Can we play some Noel Coward tomorrow, please, Catherine?
No. Hello?
Okay. Yes, hello, Sheila, sorry.
Right, so landline...
I like a bit of Noel Coward.
A landline for me is a cheaper option because I don't use the 101 texts. So if I've got X money on the mobile, at the end of the month it drops off, and so I haven't spent it. So the landline is cheaper.
Okay, but again, it's a generational thing. I mean, you're in your late 60s, so I would imagine that that people younger than you, significantly younger than you, wouldn't have a landline. I've got a landline. I've only got the landline so I could have the internet.
Can I tell you as well? Yeah, well, yes. Again, that you might have to have the landline or the line so that you can use the internet in a particular way.
But I don't make phone calls on it.
But my goddaughter, actually, it helped her to get a landline to get the mortgage because of the fact that people with mobiles, they kind of like... They could be here anywhere. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And the A1M starts at Edgware because Hatfield is junction 3.
Thank you very much indeed.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
At the Black Cat roundabout, there are roadworks on the A1 at the roundabout, which are adding to the normal morning delays, causing congestion back to Eaton-Soken. Also, we had an update from Sarah in Olney. On the Wellingborough Road, things are slow around Lily Hill after an earlier accident. On the speed sensors in Kings Langley, the A41 is queuing as you approach the M25. And on the M25 itself, anti-clockwise looking very heavy between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 15 for the M4. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yes, you are.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats Gypsy Roma traveller communities after one of their own officers of Romani descent sued them for racial discrimination. David Cameron has insisted he can do business with the next president of the European Commission despite campaigning against his appointment. And anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about drug dealing when Colombia were in action.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Andy Murray faces South Africa's Kevin Anderson in the last 16 at Wimbledon today. Murray's match against the 20th seed is second on centre court. More from Russell Fuller.
Murray made life as a defending champion look very easy in the first week, and having skirted around Saturday's wet weather, has another advantage over many of his rivals. As he prepares to face 6'8" Anderson, a South African who offers more than just a big serve but may struggle to handle the Murray return, Stan Wawrinka faces the prospect of 3 5-set matches in as many days. Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal's fourth-round matches have been postponed until tomorrow, but Novak Djokovic is in action. He faces Jo-Wilfried Tsonga in the match of the day.
Holland and Costa Rica are through to the World Cup quarter-finals. The Dutch scored 2 late goals to beat Mexico 2-1, whilst Costa Rica beat Greece on penalties after a 1-1 draw. The two will meet in the last 8. Today's last 16 matches are France against Nigeria at 5 and Germany versus Algeria at 9. Luton Managing Director Gary Sweet says the money from the sale of Andre Gray will be reinvested into players and training facilities over the next 2 years. Gray has joined Championship side Brentford for an undisclosed fee. The Hatters say there will be a healthy sell-on should he leave the West London side. Hertfordshire's Jodie Williams missed out on the sprint double at the British Championships in Birmingham. She was third in yesterday's 100 metres after winning the 200 metres on Saturday. And Hertfordshire's Olympic track cycling champion Laura Trott won the British Road Race Championships.
Oh, just absolutely incredible. Like, I woke up this morning and I was thinking I really, really wanted to win, but to try and beat somebody like Lizzie Armstead is such an ask, and she's been going so well all year, and I just thought, I just really don't know how we're going to do this as a team, but obviously we had a good, strong team, and everybody played their own part in it, and it all came together.
And in cricket's Minor Counties Championship, Hertfordshire resumed this morning on 57 for 3 away to Staffordshire. That's in reply to the home side's 315 all out. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. You're lucky because the phone line for the Kinks tickets doesn't start until... Kinks musical tickets, guys, calm down. Oh, Martin Freeman's doing Richard III. Oh...
I bet he'll be very good.
I bet it'll be like watching...
Do some of those looks.
It'll be like watching Martin Freeman as all of the other characters that Martin Freeman's played.
Oh, but he's sweet though, isn't he?
He is very, very sweet. He's going to be a national treasure one day.
I like it when he does this.
Oh, he does like
Quizzical face.
The lips. Greggy.
Did you just hear that?
I just heard that. Someone just fart. He does that face, doesn't he? Peter's in Wolverton. Morning, Peter.
Good morning, Ian. Peace be with you, brother.
Thank you, sir. What can I do for you today?
All I was thinking was that Jesus Christ would have loved the M45 because every time I've travelled on the M45, there's not a soul on it. It's an empty motorway. Calm down, Ian.
That's. Listen, you once did a fantastic call about watching your dad, who you'd never seen for years, and then approaching him after he'd been in the post office. I'm afraid this call has trumped that quite considerably. This is the best call you've ever done. Surely, wasn't Jesus like a busy motorway? I would have thought Jesus would have liked a traffic jam so he could go out and bless people, and then do the water into wine and the bread and the bread and the seafood trick.
All of that stuff he was really, really tired with. He wanted some peace and quiet in his latter days.
Peter, thank you very much indeed there. That's Peter nominating a motorway for Jesus. Which came as a great surprise. Peter's in Walmer Green. Pete, oh, hang on, are you chuckling?
Yeah, well, I was on here at the same time, but I thought I'd better stay quiet because it wasn't a sort of conversation I wanted to join.
No, you like to phone up and have a whinge, don't you? We won't have any flippancy from you, Peter.
Not at all. I like to bring the truth forward, actually.
Oh, by whinging, OK.
Well, because travellers, various types of travellers...
Yes.
And some get bad name because of the mess that gets left.
Yeah.
Now, if they made it a law that they had to register and pay daily for where they stop, and they get the money back if they leave no detritus, if you like,
yes,
behind, then that would be fine, and they would lose the discrimination that appears to happen because lots of travellers do leave loads of mess, and its cost to the community is quite high. So if they,
but Peter in Walmer Green, other people leave mess. You go camping. I bet Glastonbury's a right toilet at the moment?
Well, they're actually paid. They're actually paid to go in there. So the proprietors then have taken that into consideration, obviously, with the sum of money that they paid. There is no contrast there, really.
Okay, what about people when they go camping, or people when they go out on
to camp? You pay everywhere to camp.
So if the travellers paid money, when they pitch up on their sites, then they could leave rubbish, and that
no, I didn't say that.
Oh, but hang on, you just said the Glastonbury folk could leave rubbish.
No, they're paid for the sites.
Okay, but I'm saying, if the travellers pay for their site, it would be okay for them to leave rubbish.
If they pay for their sites. If they've actually paid for their site, they don't get a refund if they leave rubbish. But if they do leave rubbish, then they don't get a refund on their daily payment.
Daily payment, okay. Yeah. But not all... Now, this is the confusion, you see. This is why I'm struggling to get my head around this story we've been reporting on a little bit.
Yeah.
Not all... traveller. We don't supposed to use the word traveller now, because not everyone travels.
Well, they are all travellers because they all travel.
Well, no, hang on a minute, but they don't all travel, and that's what this court case... Well, it didn't get to court, but that's what this case with Herts Police has proved. The fellow was upset, I think, if I've got my handle on it correctly. The fellow was upset... Are you somewhere windy, Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah, OK. The fellow was upset because he was being called a traveller, or people were being referred to as travellers, when actually they were gypsy roamers.
Yeah, but
Romany gypsies.
They get regarded as travellers because that was their, if you like, that was the way it's all started, really, as travellers. They're all over the world, really. I mean, and if you can't start taking tiny sections of people who travel about and say they don't do this, they don't do that, they don't do this. If you've got a problem with people who are not conforming with the normal population of the country, then there has to be something different happening when they stop. It's as simple as that. There's got to be a law.
What do you reckon, Peter, about Jesus?
About Jesus? Well, I don't think enough people follow if you like, the commandments, really.
Yeah.
Well, I find that very sad. We'll get people saying...
Do you covet your neighbour's ass?
Pardon?
Do you covet your neighbour's ass?
Terms, no, only because he's probably got it on the beach, people riding on it.
Has he got a nice ass?
Well, they sometimes mix them up, and they turn from donkeys to...
Yeah. So he takes his ass to the beach and lets people ride on it.
I won't go no further on it.
Don't go any further. But Elton John reckons that Jesus would have been well up for gay marriage.
Well, I believe live and let live with everybody, really.
Oh, good for you.
Providing they're not causing huge offence to other people. I don't like ladies who maybe paint themselves up and look tartish. But I don't like men who do the same thing. So that don't cause me to discriminate against them. I still don't like gay men who make themselves look tartish.
Have you seen all right.
Pardon?
Have you seen the pictures on the front page of Dolly Parton at Glastonbury?
Yeah, I think she's magic.
Well, hang on a minute. She looks, with the greatest of respect to Dolly Parton, she's painted herself up and looks a bit tartish.
Yeah, and she tells you so as well.
Peter, thank you very much indeed.
She does, fair dues. She says it costs a lot of money to look this cheap.
Yes, she does. You know that clip that Simon's been playing in the news of Dolly Parton at Glastonbury saying, well, I grew up on a farm and I'm used to She ain't been nowhere near mud for the last 45 years. You know it.
Amen.
You know it. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Morning, Just.
Morning, boss.
Busy morning for you this morning.
Oh, lots going on.
I knew. Oh, just listen to that. That bird tweeting in the background.
Beautiful bird, yeah, lovely. Always gone.
May have been a car alarm. I knew this motorway thing would go nuts.
No, I have to say you were absolutely spot on. Well done. Congrats.
I didn't say it would be interesting.
No.
I just knew it would go nuts.
Yeah, well done.
Have you ever wiped your face with wee-wee?
Yes, once by mistake, many, many years ago.
Whoa!
Can we talk about this later?
No, we can talk about it now. We might as well talk about it. I won't speak to you in the office. You know I can't stand you in real life.
That's true, that is true.
By mistake?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Well, I kind of wiped myself and then I had some sweat, so I used the same tissue by mistake. I was in a hurry.
You may have been able to hear Catherine screaming through the glass then. I certainly did. So you...
Long time ago. Alcohol was involved.
OK, all right, let's...
Move on.
Catherine, can you sum that story up in one word? There we go. Justin, we've been sending you... It really is an odd show this morning. We've been sending you out to ask about Elton John's comments. He was speaking in an interview yesterday on Sky. I saw parts of it. That Jesus would have been OK with gay marriage. I never quite understand when people say, oh, this is what Jesus would like it, because everyone's got a contradictory thing to say.
It's very strange, very, very strange. I mean, Elton John, I'm a big, big fan of his. I think his music's fantastic, but Elton, what have you done again? So this morning, I've been asking people, do they agree with Elton John when he said that Jesus would have been a big supporter of gay marriage? It's provoked some interesting answers, let's just say. Here's what people have told me this morning.
That is wrong, completely wrong. Jesus will never, ever support gay marriage. If you go to the Bible, there's nowhere it's written there that God loves gay marriage. So Jesus will never support gay marriage. God created man and Eve. Man to get married to a woman to help a man, not a man to get married to a man.
Would you lose friendships because people you know were gay? If you found out some of your friends were gay, would you not talk to them again?
No, not at all. I would try as much as possible to speak the words to them, to let them know what they are doing is wrong biblically, because from my own perspective and my own religion, it is wrong. And if I should open the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, there's nowhere the Bible, Christianity in support of gay marriage. So I will try as much as possible to speak to them, to win them over, to see...
To win them over?
Yeah, to bring them back, to bring them to Christ, to know what they are doing is wrong.
Do you not think you're living back in 1920?
Not at all. If this nation believe that they are a Christian nation, just like they claim, then they are not doing what the Bible says.
Controversial. I really don't know. I don't think so, but I mean, I'm not Jesus, I have no idea.
Why do you think he wouldn't have supported it?
I mean, if you read in the Bible, there's everything against, man on man or woman on woman relationships. So I don't think it's something that would have changed if it's something that's, been in the Bible for so long.
Do you believe in it yourself?
I don't oppose it. I mean, it's personally not for me because I'm not gay, but I wouldn't look down or judge anyone that, did it. Yeah.
Not at all, no. He wouldn't have supported anything to do with gay marriages, I wouldn't have thought. I don't believe in God myself. I do believe there is a higher power than myself, but I don't believe there's a God.
I think from what you're telling me as well, I don't think you believe in gay marriage either, do you?
No, I don't. I don't believe in gay marriages, but just as long as they leave me alone and I leave them alone, what can you do? You can't change.
As long as they leave you alone?
Yeah, I can't change the world, can I?
As long as they leave you alone?
Yeah, as long as they leave me alone and they get on with what they're getting on with.
That's how you see gay people?
Yeah, just let them get on with it.
They're human beings, though, aren't they? I mean, you're talking about them as if they're a different breed.
They are human beings, but let them get on with what they've got to do.
Justin, excellent stuff. Thank you very much. Last 15 minutes of the show, if you want to have your say on that or anything else, 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
At the Black Cat roundabout, there are roadworks on the A1, which just before the roundabout, and they're really adding to the normal morning delays. Congestion going back to Eton-Soken. Also on the sensors in Newport Pagnell, the London Road, very heavy as you head towards the M1. The M1 itself, London bound, still looking quite slow around junction 10 for Luton. On the M25, anti-clockwise, still extremely heavy this morning with delays between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 15 for the M4. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you. I've got a cracking email in a second I'm going to read. Oh, you're going to like this one, Catherine. 8:46, it's Monday the 30th of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Thames Valley Police is reviewing the way it treats Gypsy Roma traveller communities after one of their own officers of Romani descent sued them for racial discrimination. The murder trial of Oscar Pistorius resumes today in South Africa after a 6-week break during which the athlete's mental health has been evaluated. And anti-crime messages posted during World Cup games by Hertfordshire Police on Twitter have been taken down following complaints. The force chose to raise awareness about drug dealing when Colombia were in action. Here's the weather with Georgina.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. Well, quite a decent day altogether today, so plenty of sunny spells around with just varying amounts of cloud. It should be largely dry, although there is a small chance of a shower here and there, particularly this afternoon. They'll be quite light, though, quite short-lived as well. We're looking at temperatures reaching 18 or 19 degrees Celsius. And tonight, a fairly cool night again, quite clear skies, but just a low possibility of the odd light shower, with temperatures down to 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. And another bright start tomorrow with more of that sunshine in spells. A little cloudier come the afternoon, with temperatures reaching 19 or 20 degrees Celsius. And we have a mixture of varying amounts of cloud and sunshine through the week, but things really hotting up on Wednesday and Thursday when we could have temperatures up to the mid-20s. That's your latest forecast.
Every weekday from 3.
Spend your afternoons talking about beds, hearts and bucks.
It's an amazing venue. If you haven't been to Amstel Park, get along. It's absolutely beautiful.
Discussing the biggest stories.
In terms of our people, we've invested £5 million to recruit new nurses.
In the company of friends. Howard Berry, Ian Brown, Amanda Devlin. Amanda, what have you been watching this week?
I went to the Happy Days.
And debating the week's hottest topics.
The biggest problem is actually lack of money, lack of opportunities, poor availability of training.
The use of CCTV spy cars to catch people who park illegally is to be banned.
Roberto Perroni, weekdays from 3. BBC Three Counties Radio. Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
So Elton John has done that weird thing that people do, where he has said what he thinks Jesus would be thinking. We don't know. And there will be somebody else who will have a completely contrary view and will say, no, this is what Jesus is thinking. This is what Jesus would like were he alive now. We don't know.
It's funny, though, that some people's Jesus is all about condemnation and others it's all about love and forgiveness.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your point?
Well...
Oh.
I don't remember the condemnatory Jesus, apart from when he got cross in the temple and threw all the merchants out. That was righteous anger.
Sarah says it goes against the Bible teaching. Hannah says it does. Darren says, tell Nova amen.
Oh, because Nova says something.
Oh, what does Nova say?
Well, you've got it there.
Tell Nova, if Jesus was alive today, I'm sure he'd burn the Bible. I don't think he'd do that. Staniforth, guess he's not got any... Oh, we've done that one. OK, all right, fine. Got an email.
Go on.
08459 455 555, by the way. Iain, calling the A1M a motorway when it's just part motorway is more correct than what you and your team, in fairness, Catherine's team, do every day. You usually call Milton Keynes a city. The truth
I don't.
Is it just ain't. End of. Happy to correct you always, Barry Hamill. Well, I've refused. I've stopped calling Milton Keynes a city.
I don't call it that either.
Okay.
So, Barry, you might need to amend your notes.
Well, can I read the email now? I changed one word in the email. Can I read it correctly now?
Was it a swear word?
You might find it offensive. So you heard how I read it there. I've changed it. Iain, calling the A1M a motorway when it's just part motorway is more correct than what you and your team, in fairness, Kathleen's team, do every day.
That is painful, and I'll tell you why. It's touched something quite deep. My great-grandmother called me Kathleen till the day she died. Now, in fairness, she was a very elderly woman. But I was a blood relation. You would hope that she might get my name right, but Barry...
Did she not know your name?
Kathleen.
Did she not know your name? Your great-grandmother?
And I was only the second one out, so it's not like she'd got bored by then. There were loads more after me. Forget their names, I was the second one out. But you know what I think confused it? The older cousins, Jacqueline.
Right.
Jacqueline, Kathleen,
no,
and then it went on.
She just didn't like you very much. That's the implication. She couldn't be bothered to get your name right, Kathleen. Well, you know what I'm going to be calling you for the rest of the day, don't you? Even though you're wearing your Velma dress.
I am not.
You totally are. You've got your orange dress on. I wish you brought your glasses in. Velma.
Gee willikers.
There we go, you see. 08459 455 555. Last 10 minutes of the show, we're asking... And I have no idea why. We're asking, what's your favourite motorway? I know. We're also asking, do you agree with Elton John that Jesus Christ would support gay marriage? And there's other stuff. It's kind of been a bit Bitty McLean today. We've floated lots of bits and pieces around, and very slow news day. Very slow news day. There's just not anything happening. There was a news broadcast on, I guess, would have been the Home Service from about 1938, I'm guessing. And it's brilliant. I'll try and find the YouTube link and post it on Twitter, at Iain Lee. The fellow goes, no, it's the 8 o'clock news. Nothing has happened today, so here's some music. Wonderful! Why can't we do that more? You know that the BBC and Sky and even us here at Three Counties Radio, we sometimes, you know, when there's not a lot happening, we sort of pad it out a little. This whole show has been padding. The newspapers pad it out a bit. Wouldn't it be great if the Daily Mail said, do you know what, we've got no stories today, nothing's happened really, there's no spurious made-up health stories that we can come up with, so here are just some pictures of birds. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Or, you know, it's just blank sheets. You fill in these bits of paper as you see appropriate. It's up to you. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give me a call. Harriet's on the line. Good morning, Harriet.
Good morning, Ian.
Harriet, what would you like to say? Elton John and Jesus. What a combination that would be.
Right. No, I think Elton John is a complete idiot to say Jesus would say this, because how the hell do we know what Jesus would say? But I think, you know, you can look at what Jesus might have said.
Okay.
I think if you look at what he did through the gospel and stuff, what he did was he looked out for people who were outcast from society. So he was looking after lepers and prostitutes like Mary Magdalene and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yes, he probably might have had a sympathetic eye towards the gay community.
A sympathetic... I can't say it. I'll stop trying to say it. Catherine, can you say it for me?
Sympathetic.
That's it. A sympathetic bent.
That's nearly as good as anemone.
What you might say. Yes, yeah, anemone. Elton John's quote is, if Jesus Christ was alive today, I cannot see him as the great person he was, saying this could not happen. He was all about love and compassion and trying to bring people together.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, but then why do some people get so angry at that? And I mean, we heard some people speaking to Justin earlier on and saying, oh, no, Jesus would have been dead against this.
Probably because they can't be open-minded enough to just sort of accept that everybody's different.
I don't get the gay thing. I mean, I get why people are gay.
But I don't either, but...
No, I get why people are gay. And I don't get why people would be so angry about gay people. I don't get the anger towards them, particularly if they come from a religious background. But I don't... it's one of the things I struggle to get my head around.
Well, you know, the thing is, the commandment that Jesus gave us was to love one another as he has loved us.
Yeah.
Not to always be straight. The one commandment he did give us was love.
I mean, yeah, if number 8 in the 10 Commandments was, thou shalt not, you know, have it away with someone of the same sex, then, all right, fair enough, we'd know what the point of view from the Bible... Catherine's got her hand up. Boyle.
Jesus didn't do the 10 Commandments.
That was God, wasn't it?
No, that was Moses.
That was Old Testament God. And then
that was Moses.
Yeah, and then Jesus came, and his sacrifice allowed us to rip apart the veil between God and man and have a direct relationship with him.
Exactly.
So, I mean, all the Old Testament stuff was ripped apart.
No, hang on, you can't rip apart all the Old Testament stuff.
No,
that's like saying you watched The Godfather 2 and The Godfather 1 is irrelevant.
But he wasn't a vengeful God anymore.
It's not canon.
No, what I'm saying is he wasn't a vengeful God anymore that would smite people and demand sacrifices.
So Jesus died for God's sins?
No, for ours.
But God was the one smiting.
Before, yes. He wasn't going to smite anyone down if you believe in Jesus.
Has God said sorry to us?
Yes.
When?
With the sacrifice, it was a healing thing.
Not for Jesus, it wasn't.
Well, yeah, it was, because he was going back. Anyway, we've got 3 minutes. This is a bit deep, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. Harriet, thank you very much indeed. But you say it's like saying that David Tennant, all of the doctors before David Tennant, none of that stuff counts. Well, of course it counts.
It does count, but it's less. The condemnatory God, the angry God, is an Old Testament one. The New Testament was all about forgiveness and healing.
Bye.
It's very confusing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think sometimes deliberately so.
Oh, man alive. Is it easy? Because is it easier for Muslims? They've only got the one book.
Yeah, and there's no. Well, there is though, isn't there? I was going to say that different readings of it. There's only one reading of it, but actually, I think we've made it pretty clear in recent years that some people read it differently.
You've got to read it in the original. Was it French?
Arabic.
Sorry, you've got to read it in the original Arabic. Otherwise, you're reading you're reading an Earthman's translation. Oh, it's so confusing. I've got an idea, guys. Let's just get rid of it all, can we? I don't know. It's a suggestion.
Do you know what I don't understand?
Yes.
If two people, whatever their gender, whatever their sexuality, want to stay together and make a commitment to each other, isn't that good for everyone?
Well, is it? Is it? I don't know. Is it?
Would you prefer they were running around doing whatever with anyone?
Is it?
Is it, though?
I don't know, innit?
Is it, though?
Whatever. I think we've solved a few of the world's issues there. You wouldn't get this with, what's it called? Wallow off with whale. What's he called?
The Only Way is Whale.
The Only Way is Whale. You wouldn't get it with The Only Way. You're so lucky you don't live in Essex or wherever he's broadcasting his drivel. Don't tell him I said that, though, will you? Don't tweet him or anything that I said that. But you're lucky you've got us. He won't be solving world issues.
What could we call your programme?
Having it away with Lee.
Swinging free, Iain Lee?
It's really early.
Oh, early birds.
Iain Lee and his early birds. That's you. That's you today, Louisa, but it'll be Kelly, I'm guessing, tomorrow when she comes down from Glastonbury.
No, it's me again tomorrow.
Oh, flipping it. She's taking two days off.
Yeah.
Wow, she must have had
Takes a long time to recover.
She must have had a great time.
Give it some leeway?
What, Kelly? OK, yeah, sure, I'll give her a bit of leeway. You still doing the...
Yeah.
Leave it to Lee.
Lee and Easy.
Leave
it out.
Leave it out. What fun? What fun? I don't understand. Anyway, we're going off on a tangent and we literally haven't got any time for this guff. Why didn't we come up with these great ideas 3 hours ago, guys? Guys, we should really talk to each other before the show. I think that might help. I believe they call it pre-production.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Port Pagnell, the London road looking very heavy as you head towards the M1. And in Hitchin on the sensors, the A602 looking busy towards the centre of town from the A1M. In Enfield, the A10 London bound very busy after the M25. And on the M25 itself, the anti-clockwise carriageway is still very heavy between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 16 for the M40. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
I've been told off. Why are you telling me off, Catherine?
Leaving your mic on.
Well, I have been leaving it on a bit today. Right, I'm going to phone up and try and get these tickets for the... What?
Story, we don't need to hear it. It's Jonathan's turn. Get off.
Well,
Get
I know, but...
off.
OK, but I'm...
Shut your mic.
Well, no, I've got to finish the show, but I want to make sure I've dialed the number, so at 9 o'clock... Boom, I'm at the front of the queue.
Unprofessional.
Not unprofessional, actually very professional. Oh, I've got to put the phone down now. Very professional and very skilled. You couldn't multitask like this. Oh, blimey, I'm going to crash it.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Absolutely bonkers. Good morning, welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. It's Monday, it's 9 o'clock, and on today's Big Phone In... Do you think more should be done to stop people being racist towards gypsies and travellers? Thames Valley